Hello everyone, we are in English today, no worries. Einen wunderschönen guten Abend, ihr Liebenden. A very nice good evening, you fellow lovers out there. Dobry wieczór, kochani. And all other languages will be today available. So we are today streaming the world first flight of the Embraer 175 in Microsoft Flight Simulator from FlightSim Studios Development. I don't know how you pronounce. Wie heißt der eigentlich? Martin.
FSS.
FSS, okay. From FSS. Today first flight in the Microsoft Flight Simulator world. And with us here in this live stream is me, myself, and I, which is Rafi. Hello to you guys. And I have also with you on voice Julius. Hello, Julius.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I have Thomas called Tommy. Hello, Tommy.
Hello, good evening.
And hello to Martin, the lead developer or founder, or he will maybe introduce himself of FSS. Hello, Martin.
Cheers, guys. Hello.
And yes, there's the first question. Are you Polish? Because your Dzień dobry was perfect. Yes. Ja jestem z Polski. Możemy też ten cały streaming po polsku zrobić dzisiaj. Żaden problem nie mamy. Okay, so we will so we will stream today in Polish only, no German, no English at all. Okay, my guests are really quiet. That's not a problem. I can tune them up, so you should be able to hear them a little bit louder now. Good. Mm-hmm. Let's see if this works like this. Sag mal bitte kurz was. Radio check.
Was
Radio check. Langenradar Radio check.
Okay. Ja, und bevor wir gleich loslegen, einen ganz besonderen Gruß an den Münchner Norden. Das mal an der Stelle nur so gesagt. Die wissen, die wissen, dass sie gemeint sind. Noch lauter. Könnt ihr noch mal was sagen? Ich bin aber auch sehr laut, muss ich
sagen.
sagen.
Die Leute sind einfach heiß auf uns.
Ja, das ist ja. Ich bin aber auch super laut. Ne? Ich mache mich mal ein bisschen leiser hier. So.
Du bist halt einfach ein lauter Typ.
Ja.
Okay,
so, wir haben ja auch nicht so viel zu sagen, dann ist es okay.
Okay. Okay, so to the English viewers today, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We have Tommy who is in the chat. He will try to read all your questions and we will able to answer them. So that's not a problem at all. And but we will maybe focus mainly on German and then we will see how it's going. So we can switch to German or English anytime. Good. Martin, we have the first main question. Price.
Yes. What about price? We will release the early access candidate early next week. And the current price is something around 33 euros, subject to tax, so depending on where you are. This is like the early access price. It will increase at some point once we have added other major features that are missing yet. But that's like the introduction price.
Okay, so seems to be everybody in the chat is happy. So
That was easy.
Yeah.
Right, so that's it for today. Have a nice day.
So I just got my red wine, so enjoy your evening, guys. Stream is over. Bye-bye. No, we're joking. So we will show you a little bit more than just the price. All right. I would say we switch to the flight simulator itself, and we tune down the music a little bit, which is annoying anyways. And then we can talk a little bit more once we see the beautiful aircraft and go through the questions. So we switch here back. So as you can see, we fly today from Busan, which is in South Korea, and to Japan, to Hokkaido, which is on the northern island. That's our flight. It will be around, flight time will be 1 hour 42. So we have a lot of time later on in the cruise to talk about all the details of the aircraft itself. And for the moment, I would say we start to showing, sorry for that, to showing the aircraft itself, all the features, how the cockpit looks, how the systems are working, to check all the things which are important in an aircraft like this. So what you can see here from outside is the most beautiful livery, probably never been flown by any simulant. By any FlightSim pilot, but today we will find it's our own cruise level airline livery. And thanks for the subscribes, by the way. Thank you. Dobry wieczór. Witamy do Polski. Martin, tell us about the model itself, about the aircraft, about the development of it, and what to say about the exterior.
Okay, so should we stay in English, yeah?
Yeah, probably should stay in English, but it depends on the viewers, because there was a lot of English in the chat. So
I'll try to.
If the Germans come up, we switch to German. So it depends on the people who are watching. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this project came up, something around like 14 months ago. In fact, I don't remember how that happened. We got in touch with Xcrafts. It's a well-known X-plane development company. I don't know who asked first, but we came up to agreement to migrate their beautiful 3D model into Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then we said, okay, what about systems? Well, there wasn't anything good on the market at that time. So we said, let's try to get as good as we can with the available tools in the simulator itself. So picking up the default logics, and let's see where we end up with. And that's what we started off 12 months ago. And then, like after 6 months, we noticed, okay, we are done for now, but we can't continue without trying to work around the default systems, because it's just too limited. So we started to do this. So for example, things like flight level change mode in the default autopilot system doesn't exist. So we had to find a way to make it work. And so we somewhat custom coded it, but using the default auto throttle system from MSFS. And then at some point we noticed, well, yeah, that works to some point, but again, it doesn't work for all the systems that we want to have. So again, we started to reset the project to basically, do everything with custom coding. And that's our plan, and we already started with it. But that's a huge undertaking, because we are not a big company like others who had products in P3D or so with a good code base that just need to be migrated. Although that's a big task, but it's still better than having nothing like we had. What you see now is a good state that you can fly. It's certainly missing a lot of features, but it gives you a good opportunity to fly from A to B, and we'll constantly improve it. That's why we have an early access. And of course, we are happy about anyone supporting us during this time. But if someone expects to have a full study level, full featured final product, then it's definitely the wrong time. We need more time just for that. So what you get now is something you can enjoy, but it's certainly not the deepest simulation, and it's not meant to be at this stage, but it will be. We have a very transparent approach. We have a roadmap page. We will update you with all the changes. We'll release an update every 2 weeks. And so we have a very huge documentation where we marked everything that's not included yet. So by marking it in red. So it's pretty clear what you currently get, and it's getting updated every 2 weeks. So if it's not, or if it's nothing for you right now, then just follow the progress and wait until you have the feature set that you want to have, basically. So that's what we have right now.
So then let me ask a question right away. How comparable is it to PMDG, Phoenix, and Tolis in terms of system, physics, and realism? So for the final version, I would say.
Oh, well, the final version is aiming to be something at that level. But we don't have the final version yet, so that's just our plan. And I know we have the people to do it, we have the knowledge to do it. It's just we don't have enough people to do it in a short time. That's the problem.
Okay.
The current, the more interesting thing is what about the current version? And the current version is, in terms of the systems, which are like electrics, hydraulics, etc., it's very deep already. We have a test team of real pilots, type-rated pilots of more than 15 people, and they get us a lot of like, okay, this battery voltage is not correct or is out of range. This specific situation, this device handles something different. So we are really deep. In terms of physics, it's also very, very precise. Well, at least as precise as we can get it right now. We have a real pilot doing this, and we have a pretty good data for the aircraft. So in that regard, it's pretty realistic. In terms of the avionics, however, it's still, well, there's still a lot to do. We'll see that later on. It's usable, but it's definitely something we will improve everything, but that's probably the biggest part that needs to be improved, but that's also the part that takes the longest time.
All right. So one maybe last question before we switch to the cockpit is, which is quite interesting, from Rice Jones. Can I ask why the decision is made to release the aircraft unfinished? Why not wait until it has everything needed to fly day to day? So what was the idea behind the early access?
Well, the idea is you have the chance to two things. First, enjoy the aircraft already, and to support us with giving feedback. But the thing is, you're not forced to buy it. So there are a lot of people enjoying the current, or who would enjoy the current state, and they don't need like a full-featured flight management system, etc. We saw that with the Just Flight BAE, they had the same approach in their first version, and it was quite good. So we are aiming for these customers right now, and then along the timeline, we will probably get more users which are like looking for a pro version. So that's the main reason. And it's, as I said, it's already quite enjoyable, but nobody's forced to. So the only thing is you need to make sure to read what features are included and then decide yourself if you like it or not.
Okay. Good. And maybe another last question to this point is because we have a lot of questions, so we will try to pick the best ones, or the hardest ones for you to answer, Marten, is what guarantees that the jet will be updated to study level if the product has already been purchased? Will the final update have a surcharge, for example? And
No.
All right, that's quick and dirty, that's fine. And to continue the question, I lost it already. But anyways, okay, so here we have. And is there a guaranteed timeline, or will we have to wait 5 years for the final version?
Well, I don't think that we will survive 5 years with this project only. So I hope it will be faster. So first up, if you purchase it now, all updates will be free. So even the final version, there will be no additional charging for something. So it's your benefit of supporting us now is you get a cheaper price. That's the idea. And as I said, we will release an update every 2 weeks. We have a roadmap page. If you go down to the description, you see a roadmap link. And if you click on this link, you'll get a version history. Now, this is very short, obviously, because we didn't even release it to public yet. But you can already see we have an update scheduled 2 weeks after the initial release, and we already posted bugs and features, etc., that will be included in that version that are already like confirmed and fixed on our side. They are just not implemented into the release candidate yet. So we try to be as transparent as possible. And on this roadmap page further down, you also have a feature voting. So if you miss something, or if you want to vote for a specific feature, then just post it or vote for it. and we'll adapt our roadmap accordingly. That's the only thing we can give you, and to involve everyone into this. So yeah, we'll be as transparent as possible.
All right. So one personal note for me, for everyone, you should not worry about that because we all three, Julius, Tommy, and myself, we know Marten personally, and if he wants to charge you, we will fix that soon. Yeah. So that is not a problem.
We know where he lives.
We take care about that problem.
On a drop of a hat, no problem.
And I'm super happy that so many people from Poland are here because, I mean, Embraer is also a popular aircraft with a lot of Polish airlines in Poland. And that makes me super happy because I was born in Poland. That's just a side note, not very important. But yeah, once again, dobry wieczór do wszystkich tutaj. Witam was. Sorry, Martin, you wanted to say something more important than Polish. Or how is your Polish, by the way?
Oh, it's very bad. Well, it's not existent at all.
Just keep talking. I will switch to the cockpit, and then the people can look around. Okay.
We have a lot livery included. Yay! So for everyone from Poland,
that's true.
It's using the classic winglet, so the smaller one. And both winglet types are included, but they depend on the livery. And also we'll be doing more liveries. We'll upload them for free to FlightSim TO or whatever. We'll see. And one thing to note is that's something great. If you purchase this early access, it's the E-170 and 175. Now we currently only have the 175, but you will get the 170 for free later on. It's basically a little bit smaller. All the other things are the same, so that's why we don't charge you again for this. There's no time frame yet, but we already have the 3D models, etc. So we have the data. It's nothing we need to start from scratch.
Okay, sounds good. And the next question was somewhere, I don't know, in between. Is there any further versions planned, like the other versions of the Embraer itself? So 190, 195?
Yes, definitely. They are planned. Well, we already have the model, and it's just a matter of resource allocation. We have 8 people working in full time for this project, but I would love to have twice the amount. So that's why we also have this feature voting, right? We could do everything. It's just a question. It's not a question if. It's just a question on what we will do first. So, yeah, it will definitely come. However, the E90 and 95 they are a little bit different. They will probably be sold as a separate package. But even that is, I mean, let's get the first one done, right? And then we'll see.
All right. And maybe a pretty important question because the early access where the people can buy the aircraft is in less than 5 days, less than a week. It's on 10th of January. And where the people can buy this early access aircraft?
Via the Aerosoft store. It will be available in the marketplace at some point, but we did the Sea-Ray aircraft, the light amphibian aircraft, and it took us 3 months to get it into the Microsoft marketplace. So I have no idea when Microsoft is willing to put that in. And also, and this is quite important, you will have a very outdated version because I don't know when they update it, but they probably won't follow our 2-week cycle. So you will always be behind the crowd. That's important to know. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So it makes sense to buy it not via the FlightSim store because then you're behind the update schedule maybe.
At least during early access. I mean, later on, once we have the final version, of course it's the same, more or less. But at least during early access, it makes sense.
All right. Okay. That was an interesting question in German. I will translate it to English. How long do you need, more or less, for developing an aircraft like this in this size?
That depends on the manpower, obviously. What you see is what we achieved in 12 months of development 14 months of plan, 14 months of initial contacts and 12 months of development. So I'm pretty confident that in 12 months, if we keep this pace, what we will definitely do, we'll have a fantastic product.
Okay. All right, so I will start just to go through the flow of the aircraft. The idea behind this flight today is because I'm, as always, super prepared. Yeah, so I have no idea about the aircraft itself. I have flown it only one time, and years ago, another aircraft and another version of the Embraer from in X-Plane, for example, and in the F6 or P2D, was it? I don't know where I have flown last time, the Wilco version. Anyways, so I'm a little bit outdated how to proceed the aircraft or how to fly the aircraft. But we have Marten with us, who's talking already perfectly about the aircraft, who is the lead developer. And so we should be at least safe once he's checking me what I'm doing here. So, Tommy, if you would like to read or use the chat, the questions maybe for Marten, so I will start to power up the aircraft.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, the first thing is, are we going to talk about that already? Is this infamous four-letter word which starts with a we and ends with a we? Are we going to talk about that yet, or we will wait a little bit longer?
Let's fire up the aircraft first.
Okay, let's fire up the aircraft first. Okay.
See something before talking.
So stand by, people. Then stand by.
So Marten, here's one guy who is asking the question. I guess it's 500 times. Will it have a good wing flex?
Yay! We all love wing flex. Well, it has. It definitely has. It's not the most well-known aircraft for fantastic wing flex. But it also has quite a bumpy nose gear, which is very unique to this aircraft. And there's a special simulation of that I'll talk about once we start taxiing.
Okay. And what about wing views? Do you include them? Are they fixed like in the 737, or can I pan in the cabin? What are your plans for that?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
But I can show you, as you can see in the stream, there is a chance to make a wing flex view in every aircraft possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if wing flex
Nice
view.
one.
Yeah, wing flex view, of course. Yeah, a wing view. I have shortcuts for this on my keyboard, but I can tell you how it is done. So it's pretty simple. You go into the drone mode where you fly around, and then I have a shortcut where when I'm in the cockpit, I can switch to the normal outside view. Yeah, you know it already. So if I'm in the drone mode and then click on as the shortcut for the outside view, then it switches to the predefined, let's say, standard views. And then you can switch between all of them. And there's one wing view in this aircraft already available. And if you have many different other aircrafts, there's at least one wing view available.
Well, you can still go into the cabin and look through the window, right? That's always possible.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Okay. So one nice feature of, I would say not the aircraft itself, it's your documentation. It's pretty beautiful, organized. You can already switch through that if you click down below in the description into the link, and there you have things like. Let's say normal procedures like study guide, autopilot guide, MCDU guide, checklist, etc., etc., etc. And the website is pretty beautiful because you can use it on your, for example, mobile phone with you, and then you have a checklist on your mobile phone if you wish, or on a second screen like I have now here. And it's pretty easy to use, let's say. Yeah. So I just used it for the safety and power up checklist. And as you can see, the aircraft is powered up, so it worked pretty well. So, sorry, yeah?
Maybe you want to go to the EFB real quick.
Yes. Okay.
The EFB is very early access. We have a lot of ideas, but it's very early state. You can trigger doors if you click on them.
Wait a second, I will show you something which no other EFB aircraft, which I will have to say it the other way, which Let's say it again. No aircraft has this feature included, and this aircraft from you has it already, is a movable EFB. So if you click here, you have a beautiful animation, which is completely nonsense, but if I click on this, it moves around, and I have no idea why, but maybe for people with a 1000 to 5 screen ratio, yeah, then they can see it on the landing, yeah. For VR, okay, so you don't need to look more left, it's just on the... that's the idea behind, okay. Okay, you can move around.
Ask the developer, I don't know what his idea was on this.
Okay, it's a bit strange, but anyway, it's a funny feature. So, okay, yeah, you can see the doors, you can open and close them, so I can show it, for example, the cargo doors. I can open both of them, and then if you go on the outside, they are opening beautifully. And all the others are working as well. And as you can see, the front door left and the after door are both open because we have a jetway connected and the staircase.
And let's have a real quick look at the settings.
Mm-hmm.
So this is early access. Did I say that?
Yeah.
There will be a lot of features. One thing is this flying aircraft from right seat that's caused by Julius. He was complaining that there's no camera for the right seat.
Wait a second. We have a perfect addition. DFB is better than PMDG 737's AFB. Okay, yeah. Obviously, it's not that hard to beat them for the moment right now. But anyways, yeah.
So if you click this button, the fly aircraft, if you can do that right now.
Okay.
Then your camera will move over, and if you look to the right now, you see that the tablet has also been moved to the right side,
including the animation.
Yes, of course.
We were talking about the FB. There's a question: do it have Navigraph and SimBrief integration? So
yes, but not yet.
So it's the plan, but not yet implemented.
Yes,
okay.
We will put in anything fancy that you want to have. It's just a matter of time.
Okay, and what about the toilet? Is they functional? So can I flush the toilet?
Yeah, I think there's a voting available for this. It's up to the user, right? So yeah.
In the early access, no toilet?
Nope. No toilet, no buy.
Okay.
There's also a calibration page on the EFB. You can show that off. That looks quite fancy, but it's not working yet. We will exclude this for the first release. It's not. You can't really save it, etc. But yeah, we just to show you that we actually know what we're doing and that we're working on it already. So it's not just talking; we're also doing.
Then we have a question: how how it will plan aircraft weight and fuel? I hope not through the MFSF menu because it's a failure.
Oh, why not? If we add, and we will add in the EFB the option to set weights, but it's basically driving the default menu. It's just another overlay. It just looks different. So right now you can't enter anything. We will make that available in the future, but right now you need to load it through the default menu. But it's just a different front end. It's just technically it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. So
yeah, and we will fly today, yeah, because
let's
people,
go.
Yeah, asking is if the engines are operational and so on. So we will fly. No worries.
All right, so I will just load the aircraft right now because then we have the ugly part finished with the standard MFSS menu, which should be in a few seconds done.
Remember that we were responsible for the gliders of the world update in November, so this is a big glider for now.
All right. Thanks for that.
And once we're airborne, we also will talk about VNAV, right?
Yes,
About what?
I think we have to. The
Vertical
four-letter word.
navigation.
You know.
I see. Well, maybe we need to do that before, because we will stumble over it during the flight planning.
I mean, the elephant in the room, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems so.
Okay.
Right, I will just finish this. Okay, 3 point. That's fine. Let's see. Okay, so the aircraft is powered up right now. So what we are going now through is the flight management system, the FMS or FMC. if you talk about computers and not systems. So what do I have to do first? Because once I was using it, I mean, today is not an SOP flight. We will not do everything perfect. Yeah? Just today is to show a little bit what the aircraft is at least now able to do. And so the first steps in the aircraft, where I have to put my fingers on.
But it
Marten.
doesn't matter where you click because you will end up in the same menu always. Just click anything. Okay, so this is normal nav ident thing, and then you start off with the routing.
Okay.
One thing first, we have keyboard entry.
Yes, that's a cool feature because if you are going with your mouse over the display here, then the blue square lights up, and then once you put words or your keys on your keyboard, then they show up in the scratch pad, which is pretty fast. I'm not a fan of this, but there may be a lot of people who will like that. Yeah.
Yes, and the F keys, I think they also correspond with the LSK and RSK keys. So I think F1 is LSK1 and F7 is RSK1, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes,
So,
so it's, I think, similar to the fly-by-wire.
Okay, so while Rafi is setting up the routing, let's talk about the FMS. It's currently based on the default flight plan system of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I already told you that this is not good. The default system is just crap. So we already have a working back-end system for a totally custom FMS, including lateral planning, vertical planning, and everything else that's nice to have. But this is a huge undertaking, and right now this is by far not in a state that we can release it at all. So right now we're basing on the default flight plan system, which causes a lot of issues because the nav data API is pretty bad. So for example, when we want to enter some waypoints or some airways, they just don't get recognized, although like they are in Navigraph. That's because the API just doesn't give us the correct callback. We know this issue, and we will change it. But as I said, it takes a long time. So yeah, we're working on this. Sometimes some departure routes are missing. Yeah, sometimes like the runway designator is wrong or whatever. Yeah, that's something that's a limitation where we said, yeah, look, we need a custom system. So we already started with it. It's just taking its time. Rafi, can you just use another way of entering the waypoints? Okay, anyway.
Yeah, let me tell me what I have to do.
I'm not sure if that works now, but just test Y206. Now that doesn't work. Okay, it does. Oh, great. So Y206, and then dot, and then no.
I would try it. Wait a minute. I would try it the hard way. Wait a second. There you have. It's working.
Because yeah, it does. There are different ways of entering waypoints. This one is an invalid airway, Yankee 14, and this is the situation I just described. Although you have Navigraph installed and the airway is available, the simulator doesn't know of it. So I checked the route previously, and it just gives us the callback this airway doesn't exist. So we simply display what the sim answers us. That's life. You can enter the waypoints manually, yes, but that's our current limitation for now. As I said, we'll update this. But you can also enter a waypoint and an airway in combination. For example, Y206 and then dot and then the waypoint, and then it types in everything directly. Or you only enter the waypoint and it then will fetch the airway automatically. That's also possible. And also someone asked about the frequency entry. You can enter frequencies in a different way into the radio page. So if you can, for example, for 121.5, you can also type in 21.5 because the one is always leading.
All right. So let's see if the final Airway will be able to Victor 31. That looks good again. And we're going to Taxir. All right. Do we have to enter the arrival already on the ground before departing, or should we do it in the flight later on?
No, you should do that now.
Okay. So for Hokkaido, let's see how the weather is there.
Martin, one question: is the loading screen animation of the FMC, is that like in the original plane?
No, there is no loading indication. That's a workaround for us at the moment because the simulator API sometimes takes a long time to load waypoints in because it's not very good. And before we had any loading screen, it was just confusing because sometimes you didn't know if your entry got accepted or not, and then it was popping up like 5 seconds later. So we decided to put a loading screen in, and we had a big discussion on how that should look like, if we just should do the screen black or put this loading symbol. We ended up using the loading symbol, but if everyone requests to like make the screen black, then yeah, sure, we can do that. I mean, I don't care. It's just an indication that the system in the background is working and not that your system didn't hang up.
Okay. So then make it black.
Okay. Is that okay? I'll put that into the tracker.
No, I would put an old Windows loading prompt in there. That would be funny, or maybe some blue screen or something.
Oh, we have a blue screen. I hope that we don't see it. But if you get a WASM crash, and then you will have a blue screen on the screens.
All right. Well, I never had it when I was testing it, so maybe
that's good.
There's a premiere today for that one. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, just checking the arrivals.
Fortunately, the aircraft can still fly.
All right. So we're going for 130. We will fly an Arnav approach today. Probably right now. Let's see how the weather goes. But for the moment, it's an Arnav approach. I made a little mistake. 130. Arnav Zulu.
We'll totally crash the timeline for today.
Apply. Let's see how it works.
Yes, you can fly ILS approaches with that airplane.
Okay, so we have the routing inside. Drinne, I would say Drinne in German. So I have the routing inside the flight management system. So what are the next steps?
Perf on the left.
Yeah.
The perf button. No, that's the pref.
Yeah, I know. I was just checking something else.
Okay, so perf init.
Yes.
The upper left. SK1. And then cycle through the pages. Takeoff and landing fuel. That would be nice to know. The system follows the weight unit that you are using in the flight simulator. So if you're on metric, it's using kilograms.
Okay, so I have to calculate the landing fuel myself, or I just I have see it here. I can see it here through in my beautiful mate briefing.
In your briefing, it should be written down.
So that's done.
Okay. Then just click on next to cycle through the pages.
Zero fuel weight
Second
makes sense.
So cruise altitude is obviously wrong. Just put in.
I have to check what is planned today. Today cruise level is flight level 370. Then the average cruise wind, which is, I have seen a beautiful video from, I don't know, it was from LaGuardia flying on real aircraft in the cockpit from Just Planes, I think. And they put into cruise wind the top of climb cruise wind. But if you're using, for example, like me, SimBrief, you have normally also put out an average wind component. So you can do it like you are used to do it. Where is the, here is it. It is today 276,181. Strong wind.
We talked about it. No, the loading wheel is not going to be in the final product.
It's so funny how people always, I mean, this is, to me, this is a very like minor thing, but I laugh how different the views are. So that's very, very good to know. 181 knots?
Yeah, it's pretty strong today, but it's not possible, so I will put 99.
That's a good question. I'll post that into our Real Pilots Discord.
Yeah.
Um,
In Japan, there are always very hot or strong winds. So, okay, so the second page is, I would say, done.
Yep, correct.
So let's go
Takeoff
third page.
CG is also good. It would be highlighted in white.
Yes, if it's
If
wrong,
it's
I've
not-
seen it. Yeah, today I was loading and it was around about 9%. So it was in a white box and told me, hey, boy, you loaded your aircraft wrong. So,
Yeah, correct. Okay, yeah, so we're good here. Then again to the perf button and to takeoff.
okay, so we have to enter the wind of the airport we are right now, which is 330 with 5 knots. Runway slope, I don't have any slope here, so I will put 0.
No,
Is
that
there-
will be calculated automatically if there's any.
Okay, good. That sounds good to me.
Runway condition
Dry
is
fine.
only important for the V speeds. So, yep. And then again, next page.
There I have to set the flap setting, etc., etc., etc. So should I change this something, or should we leave it as it is for today?
Flaps 2 is the usual setup, so we're good. Then on takeoff.
So we have the V speeds here, yeah.
Yep, correct. V speeds and takeoff pitch is calculated. Flaps are set. That's all good. And that's basically all we need to do.
Okay, so we're ready to fly, let's say.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll check or continue the checklist and start the APU because that's mandatory to start the engine. So we start the APU. We can switch on the nav lights, which are looking good. Maybe we can do it in the air for all the system pages, etc. Because then we have a lot of time. Because otherwise, we will never get into the air. So. Yeah, that's a point we will go later on through. Maybe the radio panel shortly. As you told, there are many ways to enter it. For example, if you want to say, let's say, Unicom, so you can enter 22.8, right?
No, you can. Yeah, that's definitely working, or should work at least.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It could also be 122800 or 1228 without a dot. I think there are different ways. I don't remember them all.
228. Let's see if this was working on the second. It's also working. Great.
Yeah, there's. Well, they have a lot of options.
For all the online flyers, FlightSim or iVao or I don't know, maybe Postcon.
Pilot Edge.
Pilot Edge, sorry, not Postcon. Yeah, it's pretty easy to switch frequencies in this aircraft, at least. Okay.
It would make sense to close the doors and to disconnect the jetway, but before you disconnect the jetway, let me know, because we'll do it in a fancy way.
All right, so doors are going to be closed.
Okay, and then
I can hear an announcement. That's cool.
do you? Is it your voice?
No, it's not my voice because I'm.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's a girl. So, but anyways, doesn't matter right now. So, we will talk about this maybe later on. So, but if you love my voice, I don't think so. But if you love it, you need to buy this product because you will be able to hear it. But we'll come to that back later on. Okay, so the doors are closed. We are ready to disconnect the jetway.
Yeah, go to the audio panel.
Yes.
Which is in the pedestal.
Yeah.
Not the radio panel.
Yeah.
And there's a ramp button on the right side with this phone thing.
On the right side.
Yeah, below the yellow button.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, there's a phone. Yeah, it's a phone.
Yeah, then just press this. That's the way to call the ground service.
And then it's disconnecting.
No, it should bring you. Oh, on which frequency are you?
On Unicom. Sorry for that.
Go to the you need to be on the ground frequency.
I didn't know that. So okay, what is the ground frequency?
I don't know.
That's the question. The APU is running already?
The APU is running, yes, and the
Just-
and the question is why they are off, because I can switch them on, as you can see here, but during the early access, some release candidates before, that was a trigger to power up the performance, so we switched them off for today. That's the reason behind. And
Okay.
el plagiato, gracias, señor. But anyways, that's something else. Thanks for the €5. Yeah.
So we have. So if you're on the ground frequency and press this ramp button, the ATC window will
Okay.
open. So
What do you mean with ground frequency? Ground frequency of the airport or ground frequency
Yeah.
of? So
that's
we can.
the usual. So how you if that's like when you go to your default ATC menu in MSFS, it's like the ground frequency. It's just opening that.
Okay. I never used the ATC of, but I
Okay,
can
well
check.
then-
The ground frequency,
and
for
it's-
example, here is we have ground clearance, we have ground apron, tower, etc. So if you wish, we can switch through all the frequencies, but I don't know if it's
No,
working.
no. It's just a nice feature.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so good. So we will do it the hard way. It's called GSX. To request pushback and departure. All right, so I go through the checklist, which is before start checkers, pre-flight checks are complete, fuel quantity is checked, obviously. MCD is set, crew oxygen is checked, altimeters is not set. The altimeter is, or should be 1027. So I can switch that here, and that's not the bar, that's the barrel. 1027. Flight instruments set, passenger signs are on, and our takeoff briefing was beautiful done and is complete. Okay. So we go below the line. Seatbelt and shoulder harness on, takeoff performance is set. Auto brake is audio. There we have the checklist. Doors and windows are closed. Beacon, we should switch it on, which is on. Transponder, yeah. We are not flying today on FlightSim, so we don't care about that. Parking brake is still on, but we will wait for the ground crew and then we switch it off and then we start engine 1 and 2.
Yes. Depending on the.
Okay, one last thing, because the people are questioning or asking that. The instruments on the right-hand side, on the FO, or the first officer side, are working beautiful and perfectly fine, but we switched them off today because it's an early access version, and if you have them on, they could trigger a little less performance.
The reason is that they are independent. It's not a mirror. They are independently working. So if you have them active, you have twice the performance. Well, not twice, but at least it's calculating twice as much displays. So we'll at some point we'll add an option to simply mirror them. So then it's just a copy of the others, and it's easy.
Yes, it is. I don't know where we are. I have to check where we are to push. I think we have to push
Just
nose to the
straight
right.
away.
I think we're ready to push nose right, tail right, sorry, nose left. So we go that way. All right. Okay, we release the parking brake and we are pushing.
Yeah, so this aircraft is pretty easy to operate. You simply turn on the APU.
Did
turn
you
on
see the wing
starter
flex?
switch.
Did you guys see the wing flex? There is a wing flex, by the way. But anyway, sorry, I did not want to interrupt you. Sorry, say again.
It's very simple operation. Just turn on APU and then rotate the starter knob, and that thing will fire up. It's quite easy.
All right, so let's go inside. Yeah, GSX, that's an early access feature, which is low ride function. Yeah, so so you're scratching your engines on the ground, but that will be probably fixed during the final version later on. So we start the engines, which is it's pretty easy. It's just one encoder, and we start it to the right, and then the thing is doing what it should.
So, Martin, do you want to talk about the VNAV? Not yet.
Well, we can. So what about VNAV? Yeah, we don't have VNAV. why don't we have VNAV? Well, it's not in the default MSFS system. That's the reason why we don't have it yet. Fortunately, we already have that in our backend coding. The thing is, people are looking for VNAV. That's great. I mean, it's a great feature. It makes your life easier if it's working, right? VNAV needs to work right. Well, guess what? It doesn't work right, and it doesn't work right in the real aircraft as well. No joke. The thing is, VNAV is not being used in the real world, at least not for the autopilot, in most airlines at least. So, based on the feedback from our real pilots, they say it's not that the prediction is just not good enough. It's very unprecise, and some airlines were not allowed to use VNAV officially by an Embraer bulletin, which said, depending on the software version of the MCDU, you should definitely not use it during flight. That was quite interesting to us. That's not the reason why we don't have it yet. We'll definitely implement it, but it gives you an indication that the aircraft is actually flown without VNAV, at least from the autopilot's perspective. And that's one reason why we said, okay, we can release this without VNAV, because it's not being used in real life that much. The modes that we have, which is flight level change and FPA, are the most frequent ones, and we have them. And let's say for anyone who's not able to calculate the top of descent on their own, we have a documentation page which gives you the calculation how that works and how they do it in real life. And if that's still not good enough, you definitely need to wait once we have enough implemented.
Can I ask an additional question there? Are the pilots which consult you, are they from Europe or are from the States, or where are they from? Are they from all over the world?
Most of them are from the US, because that's like the most popular region for this aircraft, and some are also from Europe. So these two regions.
So they are from different airlines, and they all share the impression that they say, okay, VNAV is there, but we don't use it that often.
Yeah, it's just for planning purposes, and maybe for the climb phase, but at least not for descent. And of course, for an RNAV VNAV approach, you need VNAV. That's true. But during the normal flight, most of them, I mean, that really depends on the airline operation, right? You can't say that for all, but at least like for the main carriers in the US, they use FPA for descent, for example. And one guy said, well, they had a pretty good discussion internally in our Discord where they exchanged about how they do it in different operators. That was very interesting to see from outside. And one guy said, no, we use VNAV every day. And then he got asked, yeah, how do you do this? Because we always overshoot with speed, etc. And I mean, remember, we're talking about the real aircraft, right? And he said, yeah, well, you need to put out the spoilers right in cruise level in order to achieve a speed that's possible for the VNAV autopilot to handle. So that's quite unusual to me. So that's why they usually use FPA for descent. That's not an excuse. We will definitely implement it, but it's like the most difficult feature of all systems in an aircraft in general, and even real-world avionics. Development companies are failing with this. So, or not failing, but they're not perfect.
Struggling.
So, yeah, correct.
Okay.
Okay, so, but according to the chat, you are completely wrong.
Yeah, that's usual. I mean, I'm just telling what I see in our internal Discord. But as I said, I mean, there are airlines using VNAV, that's for sure.
Yeah, it depends on the SOP, like in every or for every airline. So it.
And also on the system, on the FMS system software. We're using load 27, which is load 27 point something, I don't know, which is quite new. But a lot of US carriers use 25, which is totally different.
Okay.
One thing about the taxiing is, and nose gear, as it's quite bumpy, If you apply initial thrust to the engines, the nose might rise a little bit if you are tail heavy, and then you need to press the yoke forward so you get a little bit more grip on the ground. That's actually simulated. I mean, there are only a few situations where you would notice it, but that has been appreciated by our test pilots because that's
Short question, Rafi. Is the sound available? Is the sound on?
The sound is on. We're talking too much. That's the reason why we don't hear properly
it's
the
the reason.
sound.
So what I say, we are becoming quiet for the takeoff.
You should hear now a little bit of the aircraft. Are the wipers working? Pretty important
Yes.
questions.
very important. It does. They are both independent.
Where do you trigger them?
Overhead panel on the, where is that? Oh, in the middle, right in the middle. Windshield
yeah.
wipers.
There you go. All right.
Oh, that's something that we weren't able to simulate. They don't work if the screen is dry in real world. But there is
Okay.
no way to read out if the screen is dry or not. So that's excuse me for not implementing that as real as it gets. Okay, before you do anything fancy with the autopilot before taking off, that's an important flow you need to follow.
Alright.
So dial in your altitude that you want to go for.
It's done.
Okay, and then what you need to do is first a takeoff config check in the middle of the pedestal in the front. There's a TO config button.
Takeoff is okay.
Okay, great. And then you need to press the toga button, which is
Yeah.
at the throttle on the left side once, only once.
I know.
Okay, and then on the PFD you should see some indications. I don't see them yet.
Ah, right on the ground already. Okay.
Yeah, just press it
Okay.
now.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Okay, so it sets you in the takeoff mode, and then you enter the runway.
Okay.
Oh, and again, this might depend on your airline operation. How you know that a lot of airlines already press the toga button at the gate already. But this is important to set the aircraft into takeoff mode. Otherwise, the aircraft doesn't know that you want to take off. And you can see that LNAV is already armed. This is again important depending on the operator. Some aircrafts automatically arm LNAV if you press TO button. Some don't do this, so that's again very depending on the aircraft configuration. Okay, and once you're aligned, then press the auto throttle button once, the AT button,
Okay.
and then just apply full thrust, and then off we go.
And then we are running. And then once we're airborne, then I will push flight level change later on.
No, you don't push anything. You will
Okay.
just fly the aircraft. You will be following the flight director,
Mm-hmm.
and it will automatically change to LNAV. It will automatically change to flight level change if you don't press anything else. It will
Okay.
do everything automatically for you. The only thing you need to do is then enable the autopilot.
Okay. So let's go.
Okay, fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. It was nice meeting you.
Shut up.
And off we go.
Now rotate. We're flying.
Yeah, for some reason you disabled the auto throttle again, but that's not a big deal. Right.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Now you're on LNAV.
I lost my flight director, but anyways.
No, that's normal. You're on the oh, what's it called? No, that's all good.
Good, okay.
That's all good. You can now enable the autopilot. It's this, the reason why you lost it is it's just changing. Now you can change the flight level change or vertical speed. I would go for flight level change. But I know why it didn't, probably because... I don't know why it got lost.
That's the LOT operation.
No, I think because the auto thrust was disabled during takeoff, and then the takeoff mode got screwed up.
So we speed up the speed a little bit.
Yeah, normal climb to 22. But you're approaching a turn, so maybe a little bit. You could put in the laps.
Yeah, I'm doing it already. And we're at 5,000, which we should keep normally, which is fine because it's set. But we will keep climbing because there's no other aircraft. So we go higher.
So there are people in the chat asking about the sit and stars restrictions. So guys, it's up to you. When there is no VNAV available in the aircraft, then it's up to you. You have the charts, you have all the information available. Then it's up to you to fly the plane and yeah, of course, to check if there are any restrictions on your route. So it's up to you, but you can put it in the FMC, that's for sure.
Or you simply wait for the final version. if you're too lazy to think about all these kind of things.
Yeah, there's a question about the PFD, which I have seen also. It's the refresh rate is pretty low. Will be that improved,
yeah,
let's say, during the development later on?
That's actually linked to the option glass display refresh rate or something like that. It's also documented on our side. So if you, I don't know what's your setting, probably medium. If you increase that.
Where I have to do that? Can I do it right now?
The graphics setup of the flight simulator.
General options, and then graphic, and then there's the last item.
Okay, so let's say on high.
Yeah, that should give you better. I think we can tweak the thresholds of the display. Yeah, that looks smoother. But for me, for example, it really depends on your hardware. For me, medium is great and low is causing issues. So I don't need to set it to high. So I'm not really sure on what's the limitation for this.
Okay. So to everybody, if someone is here not happy with the status of the development, it's an early access. So you have to wait.
Yeah, and you get for your 33 euros, you get an airplane that you can fly, and not just paying 80 euros and you get nothing. And everybody knows who I mean.
You could still do this. You could do both.
So
Okay.
yeah, but let's say it's an early access. It's not everything in there. And that is, you are very transparent, by the way, as a developer of the plane. So that's not really common in our community. And yeah, so if you're happy with the state, like you just mentioned, buy it. And if not, then don't buy it or wait. It's pretty easy as that.
That's true. Well,
Right.
that was not a bug, by the way. That the declutter on the ICAS is not a bug, that you don't see the flaps, etc. That's by design. If someone comes up with this.
Once they were moving. Yeah.
No,
I've seen.
now they are missing.
Ah, okay. You're talking about that. Okay, yeah.
There is a declutter button that you can get them again, but I don't actually know the real logic of this. So I'm not a real pilot of this thing, so I know that we already modeled it, but can check it. Yeah, so what else could you say? Oh, one very important thing. Nobody will notice it unless he knows the real aircraft. Those green buttons on the glare sheet panel above each autopilot button, they exist in real world, but they're disabled. So you won't see any light in the real aircraft. I'm not exactly sure. I heard that it's because they were in the very early production lines, and then they said it's somewhat confusing because you already have the FMAs on the PFD, the flight mode annunciators, and then you have those green buttons, and that they might interfere or they're confusing or whatever. So they are not in the real aircraft. We had them in the development because it makes us it's way easier for us to develop by seeing what mode is active. And we kept it in. However, we will put in an EFB option where you can enable or disable it. To me personally, I'm quite used to it. I think it's great because I see what's happening directly without looking at the PFD. But yeah, that's actually unrealistic.
Okay, what is the best climb speed above 10,000 then?
200. So 270 is the speed limit for bumpy air. So I would always go for 270.
Okay.
That should give you a good rate across all altitudes.
Oh, I see there's a big mistake in my flight planning, so I'll fix that.
So,
That's
Rafi,
why.
how does it feel to fly the airplane? Is it smooth? Is it great? Or is there any hiccups?
I mean, flying it manually. Oh, I see right now a feature of the charts here. Okay. Flying it by hand, it's pretty cool. You will see it later on during the landing. It's pretty smooth. It flies pretty well. And the performance is, I would say, compared to all the other aircrafts right now, even it's a development version where it's not everything perfect. But I would say, yeah, it could be always better. But once we have the final product, then probably it will be. So. Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah, if you develop something, you try to improve it once until it's finished. I think so, Marten. You should talk about that, not me, because I'm not a developer.
Yeah, the performance could be better, and we know the cost. That's a big benefit because often you don't know why something is happening. We know why this is the case, and we also know how to fix it. And we already started to do it, but again, this is a huge undertaking because we did some kind of mistake in our architecture during the early days, and now that's our output, what we have now. So we need to change our backend architecture a little bit. And well, it's not a little bit. It's quite a huge change. You won't notice any visual difference, but the code will be much more smoother, and then we'll have an even better performance than now. Yeah.
I have a comment I want to read out. There is the 81st Airborne. Thank you for your comment. He wrote, real world ERJ 175 pilot here and sim nerd since Amiga 500 days. I sure like what I'm seeing so far. OFC, I see multiple things that needs fixing tuning, but this is definitely promising.
Great, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, that's basically, I mean, it's better than everything that's available for this type of aircraft in MSFS, that's for sure. But I won't stop saying that it's not the final version. So you see me being very transparent in that regard. It's not that we want to cash it out and then drop it. Yeah, that's not our idea.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit, it's an early access. I think we have to emphasize this again. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. And if you want to be part of that early access phase, just go for it. And then, I mean, what will be the update cycle? Roughly every 2 weeks, every third week?
Every 2 weeks is planned, unless there's like something where we need an emergency hotfix, then we can obviously ship it earlier. We have the roadmap page, which is linked in the in the description below, and we will like announce or post any scheduled update, so you can always see what's coming in. and yeah, being as much transparent as possible. And we also have a Discord that's not linked. Maybe you can add this. I don't know if that's still possible or not. We have a Discord server where you can join and discuss things.
You can put a link here in the chat. It should be.
Yes, let's put it in the chat maybe.
Yeah, try to do so.
Just one question. Once we're talking, how to fix the problem? I mixed up here with putting wrong waypoints. I'm sure I put them
just
right, but
which one is wrong? So the distance is so there are two ways. You can either delete a waypoint, or if you just want to skip one, you can select the one you want to go to and then overwrite it into the next.
I don't know why they. So I can delete them, yes?
You can do the following. Click on.
I did it already. And I will delete the other one also because that's. I don't know what
Yeah.
That's maybe my fault. I don't know, but
6,000 is.
now it looks better, huh?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice question, which is a little bit challenging you maybe, but yeah, that's because you said you were
used to it.
transparent, yeah, which is good. So the question is from CDoc 9999. Speaking of transparent, what are you ETA for a fully functioning VNAV?
Oh yeah, that's pretty hard to tell because we don't know yet on what kind of problems we are stumbling over. I can tell you that this thing this topic is not only VNAV, but it's the entire FMS, and it's split up into a back-end part and in the front-end part. So the back-end means all the calculation for lateral and vertical navigation, as well as performance. And the front-end part is everything that you type into the MCDU and how this thing works, deleting waypoints and putting directs in and all these kind of stuff. And we have done the back-end part to something around 70% at the moment. So we are able to plan our route. We are able to select the nav data if it's Navigraph or Nav Data Pro from Aerosoft. We can import a SimBrief flight plan. We can do all these kind of stuff already. We have a route, a vertical a display. We have a vertical planning. We have speed limits. We have altitude limits. We all have that. But it's just the back-end code. It's not integrated into the aircraft, and it can't be interacted with the aircraft yet. So basically the autopilot doesn't know what to do. That's the current state. So the good thing is we know that it works, and it works well. It's just not hooked up into the sim. And that's what we will be doing within this year, of course. I'm expecting to have the final, well, depending on what you define as a final version, but a very, very good state within the next 12 months. Maybe even earlier. Maybe if there's someone who's capable of coding in C++, please raise your hand, get in touch with us, and maybe we can onboard you to the project, and maybe we'll be even faster. So it's just a matter of manpower and where to put the manpower, the limited manpower that we have. But we're always looking to extend it. So yeah, welcome to anyone who's willing to support us.
Martin, the people are driving crazy because they think they missed the Discord link. Where is the Discord link?
Yeah, I posted it already, but I can't put it sticky or something. Tommy, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please send it. Yeah, perfect. So
maybe you can put it somewhere. But I mean, there's nothing going on in this Discord that you don't see here or no. So it's just more for the future.
So there is the Discord link for the people who want to join FlightSim Studio developers and have a chat with Martin.
Please don't chat with me because then I can't work on the project. By the way, I just got feedback from the wheel pilots that you can enter cruise winds above 100 knots. So yeah, look, this is the great thing of having a lot of real pilots in our group. I can ask a question, or in fact, I didn't even ask them. They're just watching it, and I'm getting an instant reply on this. And a lot of these things are not even documented in the official documentation because we have all the official documentation. That's pretty great, and that gives me a big confidence that we'll have a great early access phase. A lot of details.
Yeah, there's a fine question because you can't fly direct to a waypoint. So
Why
there's
not?
no direct to feature.
Well, these are two different things. Not flying directly to a waypoint and having a direct to feature is a totally different thing. So why not turning in the heading mode and fly to a waypoint, or just delete the waypoint you want to skip in the flight plan? Do this. Is there a direct to mode if you're off the flight plan? No, not yet. We'll put that in hopefully for the update in 2 weeks. But well, the developer just came back from holiday, so he's looking into this. I can't do everything at the same time, right? But it's at least planned for the update in 2 weeks.
Okay. So if you check, for example, the page where there's a roadmap, there you can see. I don't know. Is it in the development? Sorry, in the documentation part, or where's the?
The roadmap is all it should. Well, it's on our website. So if you go to the website and select our, or go in the description.
Okay.
It should be in the documentation, but I'm not sure.
I mean, it's more or less, let's say, especially for the people who are maybe interested into the early access version, because they say, okay, there are maybe some features missing, but I want to, let's say, have a cheaper price, of course, and be able maybe to support the people with flying around with the aircraft. There's this maybe something we are already used to know from Microsoft or ASUS or from flight simulator development, because there's also a kind of, let's say, voting for the most requested features, and the developer putting it in and then releasing it with the next sim update. And that's, let's say, more or less the same thing you are going to do during the early access, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can, with the vote, decide where the development goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, I mean, we could have done this in like the next month for our own, right, without telling anyone. But I think it increases our development if we get feedback from the users and to see what people are looking for. I mean, there's another, like our publisher is working on another aircraft, which is a wide body aircraft. I won't name it, but I guess you know. And they announced it like 3 years ago and haven't come up with something. So, your decision on what approach is the better one.
Yeah. So, talking about timeframes, because the question is coming up and again. The question is, this aircraft is in its current state is probably not worth the price, right? Okay, that's maybe depending on how you approach to the aircraft. But the question is, how long do we have to wait for that to pay off and for it to get the level where it's worth it? Let's say, what is the roadmap plan to have a finished product?
We have basically two phases that you can also see in the roadmap page, where we assign items to. These are like our big steps, and we plan to increase the price after each phase. But I don't know to what, to be honest. And the assigned features for each phase might change depending on the user request, right? So that's currently our plan, but that doesn't mean that it will stick to this. Again, I can only repeat that we nailed down this thing in 12 months into this state. So I'm pretty confident that within the next 12 months, we'll have a fantastic product.
I mean, it's always hard to predict something like that, because we all know development schedules and timelines in the world of, let's say, software is not that easy to predict always. But if you communicate it at least always straight and open, then you should have a good response for the community.
Yep.
So if you do so, I hope you will do so. Then good luck with that. There was another question. or another question, maybe a request from Cloud the Action. And the question is to you, Martin, if I'm allowed to do it, because he's asking, can you turn off the autopilot and show flight dynamic, full left rudder, stall, etc.? I would say we do not stall the aircraft, but we can do a flight, let's say full rudder left, right, and
Sure.
to test it. Why not? Okay.
Give it a go. I remember the first version that I handed over to the real pilots. What they did is they actually shut down the engines in flight, and we were going crazy because of that, because we never never did that before. But yeah, we learned from this. Yeah.
Okay, that's doing crazy with your full left, full right, but you can.
Okay, now you're going really crazy. In real world,
Yeah,
the
that's
problem
how we
is
do
in
it at
real
cruise
world-
level.
Yes. The interesting thing is, in real world, you are not able to hit the rudder that much because of because of the force that's on the rudder itself. That's something maybe we can simulate. That's actually a good idea. Maybe we can simulate that.
Look at this, and that's why we're doing it today. Another request for you guys.
Well, I'm not sure if that's really important to most of the customers, but if it is, please drop a feature request and we'll put it into the voting, and then let's see.
That's a good conclusion. Eggy said stable flight in words of cruise level. Yeah. So we need to go back to flight level change because I was messing up here.
Yeah, one thing in your version that we'll probably not notice it, but in your version, the approach pitch angles, the pitch angles of the aircraft during the approach are not 100% good. But they are fixed already. It's just not in your build.
Okay.
But you probably will not notice it anyway.
Okay. Your Discord invitation link was not working. Some people are saying.
Yeah, I've changed it already, so there's a new link in chat.
Oh, did it run out of? Oh yeah, it could be that I didn't make it. I'm not a Discord expert, to be honest.
It's not a problem. I will renew it every once in a while.
Right, it's not climbing anymore,
Yeah,
but I think the speed is rising
seeing-
up. Okay, now it's coming up. Yeah.
Yup. Yeah, depending on the weight. Yeah. We'll also implement fully custom auto throttle not auto throttle, yeah, throttle as well, but the engine management is currently not like the ATTCS, etc. Is not implemented yet. So like different engine powers depending on the detent position of the throttle. This is already work in progress. The developer already picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, so although we are not at cruise level yet, I would already talk about the descent in general again, as we have the VNAV elephant. The descent should be done in the flight path angle mode. The reason is it's very predictable. FPA is the same thing like you fly a glide slope on the ILS. It's just a defined path, an angle that you fly, like 3 degrees descent or 5 degrees, or well, maybe not 5, but 3 to 4 degrees, and it's roughly like on 3 degrees you lose 320 feet per nautical mile. So you can really calculate your top of descent, and heads up, it doesn't matter what kind of speed you fly, because as it's a path that you're going down, the aircraft will automatically adapt the vertical speed rate to match this descent, and that's what they often use in real life.
Okay, that's what we know from, for example, the Boeing 777 or Airbus, which is pretty common there. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's how you usually descent this thing. So you calculate on how many feet you want to lose. So for example, you are in cruise 370 and you want to end up at 3,000 feet because that's your intercept altitude, for example. Then you have the 3,400 feet, and then you can calculate on how many nautical miles you need to start descending with for example, 3 degrees FPA. And in our documentation, in the normal procedure section, in the procedure guide, in the descent section, we have written down a calculation for you guys. So, like for 3 degrees and 3.5 degrees, and there's a typo I see.
Okay.
Fix that right away.
So I have 2 quick questions or quick answer because once we have too many questions to answer. But one question is from JD. Do the developers, so it's you, Martin, think this plane is ready to fly or for FlightSim flying?
That's an interesting question. So it generally is, but you need to have the charts ready. You need to actually read the charts before, because, for example, sometimes, especially in the US, the departure route is not good in enough data. Sometimes it's missing, sometimes it's just wrong. So you better fly this based on your charts. And of course, you need to keep in mind that you, if you have changes in your routing, that can get messy, because the flight plan system currently can't really handle this. That's the only thing you need to know. So I wouldn't go to like Zurich fly in with flying holdings at forgot about it, Ipoh, right? But if you're like on a average daily flight from A to B, that's definitely possible. I wouldn't go into an event, a special event, unless you are able to fly the aircraft manually, because that does work well, and the real aircraft is pretty nice to fly manually. So I think people are the real pilots are always happy about when they can fly it manually, and that's also a way to do. Yeah, don't go to like crowded events. Maybe not yet, at least. I might post it into the changelog and release you to those events at some point.
Are the sounds on final version now, or will be the sounds also improved and, let's say, better or worse?
Well, there are sounds missing. I don't know if you notice it, but we know that sounds are missing, so they will be implemented, the missing ones. The general sound set is currently final, but that depends on the feedback. So if people say, well, I don't like this or I don't like that, then we will definitely not change it, because currently it's quite realistic. But what we will do is we will implement, on the settings page, we will implement options to drive the sounds. So, for example, if you say, oh, the pack sounds, because they are quite loud and the engines are quite silent, you barely hear it from the cockpit, but that's just as it is in real life. But if you think, oh no, I want to hear those, like, not beautiful engines, but I want to hear some more engine sound, then you can crank up the engine sounds. So we will give you an option for this, so everyone can change that to their liking. And we also save these sound settings, so they will be stored across all aircrafts and all loadings.
Okay. So another question, because we go through the questions, and after these questions I will stop reading the questions and we will show maybe the features on the MFD. The VR Sim pilot is asking, probably because he's flying VR, did someone say $34 for early access? It will be $33 without taxes. And the question is, and then we get updates as features as included. That sounds not bad. One question, tested in VR already?
It is being tested because I fly in VR as well.
Okay.
But I hate VR and MSFS because I'm coming from X-Plane, and it's a huge difference. So to me, actually, the aircraft is not, because I'm using VR controllers, and this thing, it is usable in VR controllers, but things like the throttle or all the levers are not possible to drive. But that's the same for all aircrafts in MSFS. So from the general interaction, yes, you can definitely use it in VR, but you have the same problems like in all other aircraft as well. In all other VR aircrafts, I don't know if you well, you didn't notice it, but you can rotate the knobs quite well. Also in VR, not only with a mouse, you can use the mouse wheel or the click and then drag it. And that also works in VR quite well. But I know that Asobo's priorities are not VR, and they won't be within the next year, or in this year. Actually, we are in this year. Unfortunately, I'm crying about this, but it's a shame. But yeah.
Okay. I was messing around and it was just engaging the nav mode, but it's going back. There's one question which I can answer because I'm testing this aircraft and my other friends as well from cruise level. How is the flight model? Maybe Julius or Tommy would like you to answer the question, because I can only say it flies like a charm, hand flying. So it's pretty nice to fly, but what are your experiences?
Yes, I think so too. I mean, I'm not a real pilot. I don't have the experience in the real world. I mean, I've been sitting in one as a passenger, but hand flying the aircraft is real fun, especially with full flaps on final approach. It's very smooth. But it's also very precise. I liked it, but of course it always depends on. I think it's a very subjective thing to say, but I really liked it. So it's handling like a little bit. It reminds me a little bit, maybe from the handling. It's comparable maybe a little bit to the 737, which is of course just the impression for me as a consumer, you know. I mean, of course they are different aircraft with different envelopes, but I liked it.
Yeah, I can second that, especially pitch and power in the approaches. You can fly it like it should, and it's a great experience so far.
Okay, I have to change my keyboard right now because my Bluetooth adapter is going crazy. I hope this does not crash anything here. Let's see.
Changing hardware during flight is always risky.
Yeah, but it's just only a keyboard, so it should be fine.
Oh.
If it crashes, it's not because of us.
Okay. I disconnected the autopilot by putting it in, but now it's flying normally. Okay, we have all modes on, so it's fine.
You could crank up the speed a little bit, unless we want to stay the entire night here.
Are you tired already?
But we have a great ground speed. Yo, that's 185.
As you can see, everything goes as planned. Okay, so how do I know right now on this stage where to start the descent? Okay, you said there is a calculation formula, etc., etc. But
yeah,
I can calculate it, but I need to know from where I have to measure it.
Yeah, that's a good question. You usually go from the point where you want to be leveled off in your calculation. So in best case, a few miles before your initial approach fix or something.
Let's say initial approach fix is Yeki. In this case, it's 4,000. So we have a altitude and waypoint. So how do I get there?
Yeah. Okay. So we have an altitude difference of 33,000 feet that we want to lose during descent, right? From 37 to 4,000. 33. So in our calculation, we have either 3, 3.5, or 4 degrees. So we can go for, let's say, 3.5 maybe, the middle. So we know that we have 375 feet per minute loss on that degree. So we basically divide 33,000 feet by 375, and we get 88 nautical miles for this descent. That doesn't matter of the speed that we have. So roughly 90 nautical miles. So right now it's a quite comfortable situation. You have the PFD, you have the 100 nautical miles range ring, which is the outer, by the way, not the where the number is. It's the outer. Then just wait for the position to come in.
Okay, and then we go flight. Then we go flight path angle. 3.5 degrees, you said, right?
Exactly. Then you just press FPA and dial in 3.5 with the knob, and then down we go. So it's actually pretty easy.
Okay, so we prepare the Arnav approach in Hokkaido, which is only the Bara and the Etzer. The rest will be flown anyways via LNAV and flight path angle.
By the way,
Exactly.
you're still on non-standard QNH, so
Oh, that's
please
that.
report to the office after landing.
Whoopsie. Let's see what happens now. Probably he goes back to 37,000. He's trying to catch it. Yeah, it's doing that. All right. So once he's catching back the right altitude, let's talk about the. If you're wondering why we're flying this crap, because we have pretty heavy side wind. We have 186 knots from the left, so that's why we are flying sideways. So we have some pages included already in the MFD, multifunctional display, or nav display. I don't know how it's called here in the Embraer, right?
MFD.
MFD, okay. So you can see all the systems. Talk about a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, we already had the status page. That's quite interesting. Flight controls is only important during testing on the ground. Hydraulics might be interesting. Well, that's actually only interesting during startup. Now we are in a full system. But during startup, you will see different pumps coming up depending on the engine startup. Fuel, you see the fuel veins. Actually, the aircraft is somewhat like an Airbus. It's more or less all automatic. So unless there's any light coming up on the overhead panel, everything is on auto mode. It will reflect the correct fuel lines here, also the APU, etc. So that's all implemented already. And the AC pumps. Oh, by the way, did you enable the electric 3A pump?
Of course I did.
Can you go? You did. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So one thing that we don't have, by the way, on the electrical page is yeah. Okay. One thing that we don't have on the electrical page is we have the ground power, but there are two. There's a DC and AC ground power. We only have the AC power ground power unit. If someone complains about the DC ground power unit, well, this is not available in MSFS by default. So we'll probably add this at some point. But I mean, yeah, nobody will need those differences in normal operations. But all these kind of things are working. So for example, if you go to the overhead, don't click what I'm telling you now. But if you go to the IDG 1 and 2, if you put them to discharge, or what's the abbreviation, then this thing will be off. You won't be able to get this on again. You need maintenance or reloading the aircraft, in fact. So be aware of what you're doing. Just don't rotate anything without knowing what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, which is you have to be used to it again because it's the Embraer cockpit is let's say built in dark. How do you call it? Dark mode cockpit, where everything, which is when all the lights are off, then it's everything fine. Which you have to be. Yeah. You have to be prepared on this because once you are flying, for example, Boeing or Airbus, you're used to it that if something is working, it needs to light up. Yeah, and here's a different way, or the other way around. So yeah, it's a kind of quirky.
To tell you, this is, I mean, those buttons actually have functions and features. So, for example, if you forgot to put in the GPU on ground and stay on battery power for more than 5 minutes, the screens will go off. There's no way around. And you will hear a warning horn sound, at least from the next version.
For example, if I switch one pack off, does it work right now? I mean, it should not be a problem.
Go for it.
Okay, so we switch pack 1 off.
Martin, sorry to interrupt you, but will there be a livery template for livery makers, or will it be available in the future?
Yes, so we are using decals to actually paint the livery in 3D. It's not a texture, it's an actual, like, that's why they are crisp and sharp. It's a 3D mesh.
Okay.
And we are planning to create all liveries that are currently in real-world operation for free. However, we have a white paint kit, so for virtual airlines or something like that, you could create your own paint, but it will definitely not be as high resolution than ours. We have 8K textures, yes, so that's the maximum we can go. But they won't be as crisp and sharp as ours. And they will be uploaded for free, so to FlightSim TOs. The only reason why we don't include them into the release packages, first, they are not ready yet, not all of them, because there are quite a few. And the second reason is the package would just get too big. So we have like 6 or 7, I don't remember. And yeah, that's it for now.
Okay.
The question was if there is a vertical display mode. There is in the early aircraft, and there will be one. Martin was talking before about that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can repeat that in a shorter way to the people who are joining
Yeah.
later right now.
We already have this, but it's so the vertical display. We already have that, but it's not finished yet. And as we don't have any vertical profile in the flight plan, it's only limited in terms of useful. So it's not that useful. Let's put it this way. So yes, you could see your path, your descent path, but it was not our top priority because it's not such. At the moment we are looking what's the biggest benefit to the user, and this was not the highest point. But yeah, go for it, vote for it. Again, it's not a question about if; it's just a matter of time.
Where I can switch through the planned mode, can I switch to the waypoints?
Nope. That's not possible yet. You can see them, you can scroll, but you cannot scroll through them.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I mixed up again something at the final airport. Well, we'll see. We will see.
Destination 470 nautical miles. Did you change anything in the routing? Oh, you have the same waypoint twice in there. That's bad for. Okay, don't delete anything. Don't go crazy now. Just to show you the feature, press the key next to Eguro intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's getting copied into your scratch pad, and then click on the waypoint before Yaki. Just to skip that.
Invalid action, arrival.
Yeah, arrival.
But I can do it with Yaki to Yaki.
You need to delete. Yeah, Yaki to Yaki won't work as well.
Yeah.
The reason is. Now that won't work. You can delete the first Yaki.
No, it's not working as well.
Okay, look. This is this is the hell of the Microsoft Flight Plan system. It just got this intersection twice in the arrival, and in Microsoft we are not allowed to change the arrival waypoints. Don't ask me why. Ask Asobo for this, but it just doesn't work. That's why we do it custom in the future. Now in your flight that won't do anything crazy to your flight plan, but now the calculation, as you can see, it's popping and switching in between, so that might mess up your prediction, fuel prediction. Oh, there is a prediction page, by the way. If you go to nav, there will be a page for fuel prediction, etc. Or where is it? No, it's on perf. Sorry, it's on perf. Yeah, we're on the second page.
And then second page?
Maybe on the second page.
Fuel MGT?
I don't remember exactly. There's probably someone in the chat knows where this is. Well, in the cruise you have a prediction as well if you're in the cruise page. I think there's a. No, that's not. No, there's a fuel prediction somewhere. I've seen it.
There we go. Free remaining 3.3 tons. Yeah.
Yeah, and this distance, there's some calculation issue in the distance going on.
I like the distance. We are flying all night long.
Yeah.
That's probably because of me, because I was messing around during the flight plan input.
Yeah,
that's my fault, probably, because if I check now here the distances, they look fine, but.
Yeah, you can also see on the nav display, you see the destination, distance, etc. They are all correct. It's just, yeah, it's a mess. I think you understand why we need to change to a custom system, or why we actually decided to do this, because it's just crazy. Asobo did a great work in keeping us with headaches and anyway. Fortunately, there's a solution, though. There is. So, and we know it works, and we can do it. We have the skills and the people for it. So.
Okay.
Wondering if there's so in our liveries. Oh, one interesting thing maybe in our liveries, the cabins are customized in terms of like the seats, covers, colors, and also the magazines. They are customized. So if you fly LOT, you'll see the LOT magazines, etc. We plan to include custom cabin announcements, automatic cabin announcements for all liveries in their respective language. That's not done yet. It's available for a couple of liveries yet. It's still work in progress. So that's adding immersion, I think.
Okay. Yeah, what I can say, what I told you before departing, if you fly this specific livery, which probably no one will do because that's just for today, but you can download it anyways, and there will be my voice as safety instructions, etc. so on. So if you like it, you can do that. That's my part of contributing to this project. But I don't think that's the main part, so you can do it.
You could,
anyways.
One other thing is there's a bin behind the pilot's seat. Maybe you want to have a look into it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a bin. Ah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you wanna open it and have a look inside.
How do I open it?
No, not that one. No, the trash can on the right side. If you further
Trash.
right on the.
Martin, is this the final version of the cockpit textures, or will there be further improvements made in the future?
Well, there could be more improvements if you tell us what to change.
Okay, so some of them saying some of these textures are used, some of them looking like new. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Report
I
it.
think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What kind bin? What?
The waste. On the left side, there's a waste decal that tells you on the left next to the seat.
To my seat.
To your pilot's seat. Right on the left next to the seat. A little bit more left.
Ah, there it is. Yeah. So I can click on it.
Well, give it a try, right? Let's put it this way. I recommend everyone to frequently check this out in the future during early access. Maybe interesting things can be found in there.
There will be maybe where we printed all the negative feedback from the customers and pushed in here in textures.
Yeah, for example, maybe we'll see.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Julius, you had a question. I mean,
just
before you you can open this as well.
Switch to maybe for a short moment to night lighting, maybe just to see how the cockpit looks in the dark.
Yeah, of course we can do that. Is there any float lights? There's a dome light.
Yep. On the glare shield on the left.
There it is. Floodlight. Okay, so we switched up the dome off. Then you have the floodlight. You should have a chart light.
And you could adjust maybe the screens too.
Yeah, of course you can write them down. So if they're blinding you.
Maybe you want to look from the bottom upwards so you can actually see the light source. So because this is 3D lighting.
So it's lighting up the parts of the cockpit. Cool.
You can also see the screens. And the MCU, by the way, has an automatic brightness control. That's also working.
Okay.
That's there's some like black circle that's the measurement system.
Okay, I'll switch back to Daylight, okay. Other liveries including company interior textures, I don't know, but this livery with my beautiful voice, if you go through the through the cabin and go to the economy class, and then you can see some kind of custom airline magazines. Will be that also possible with other, let's say, airline liveries?
It is for all liveries. So we have the seats individually, not the seat themselves, but the colors of the seats and the magazines. They are individual at the moment.
Okay.
Per airline or per livery.
I mean, the cabin is looking pretty nice. I like it.
I mean, it's not a cabin simulation, right?
But it's looking good. I mean,
at least the signs work, right? If you enable the passenger signs, the seatbelt signs, they come on.
All right.
So,
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
So they come up here, yeah? So let's check this.
yeah. If you turn them on,
They were on.
well, if you are on, okay, we need to.
Maybe a bug.
Maybe, yeah. I need to verify that. Or maybe there's an automatic logic switching it off above 10,000. I'm not sure.
So let's descend.
No. That's. I remember now. That's because of your special cruise level livery, because that's not in our package. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
It's an external livery that's also uploaded to FlightSim to you at some point. But that's probably not updated with the latest version that you are currently flying, because I sent you the livery earlier.
Yeah. Right, so let's see the descent. We set around about 100 miles mark. We have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, so we will be flying an LNAV approach with FPA vertical guidance, right? So it's an LNAV RNAV approach.
Yes, we go to Eguro. There will be at 2,500 feet. And from there on, there will be at 3 degrees, I think. Let me check that. Yes, it's a 3 degrees glide path angle, which we fly on the FPA mode to our minimums, which is 520 feet today. And it's a little bit offset, so we will not fly straight on the runway. It has a 4-degree offset, which is quite cool. So we have a mini Kaitak, let's say, and or Reggio Calabria and many other airports. And then we have to fly manually. We will switch off the autopilot pretty early, so that people can see how the aircraft. Let's see. I mean, you can't feel what I'm doing here, but you can see like the aircraft is behaving. So a little bit, you will see at least how the aircraft behaves once you're flying it normal. And I'm saying you that not biased. It flies really nice. So that's a kind of, let's say, finished part. Yeah.
One thing about the ILS, because we don't fly in ILS, but it's important to say, and it's also noted in the documentation in the normal procedures. So if you want to fly it, please check it out first. The real aircraft has if you press the approach button, it arms the localizing glide slope. Our aircraft does that too. However, the ILS system is currently still using the default MSFS system, which we will be replacing. I already said that. But MSFS doesn't really know any arming. It's basically intercepting from wherever you are. As long as it receives an ILS signal and you press approach button, it's starting to intercept something that doesn't exist. So if you fly an ILS, the only thing you need to do is press the approach button once you approach the localizer. So if the localizer needle on your PFD starts to move, then press approach. Don't press it before. Yeah, we won't see that today, but that's very important to know, a very important limitation. If you press it late, then it's working great. If you press it too early, then it's a mess.
I mean, it's fully capable to fly an ILS. I mean, we can switch right now even to an ILS because the wind is changing a little bit, And the airport we are flying, which is Hokkaido, which is Romeo Juliet Charlie Hotel. And they have from one side ILS approach, from the other side RNAV, and the wind is, or was before, better for the RNAV approach, but for the moment it's still better for the runway 30, so we will maybe stick on that. But it's flying without any issues in ILS. I was flying today in the morning from Tokyo, Narita, to I don't know, one airport somewhere on an island, which I don't know. Was not Kansai? What's the other one? Anyways, and there was an ILS and I was flying without any issues, so it's working pretty well.
What about icing?
Ooh, yeah. Well, we have icing. We added the custom icing mesh to the aircraft. The only thing that we that you at least don't have yet is the correct like icing and de-icing flow. That's not that's already done on our side. I think that will be, I'm not sure if that will be shipped on Tuesday or 2 weeks afterwards. But yeah, we have a custom icing model, and that's also linked to the anti-ice system. Again, this is an automatic aircraft, so you shouldn't see any ice on the surface if the automatic system works well. Because it's an anti-ice system, right? It's not a de-ice. Anti-ice means it will heat up the surfaces before it gets ice.
I mean, you can see that already if you go. Wait a second, I'm just messing around, so that's fine. If you go on the where was it? Anti-ice system. There you see that it's all heating up by 120 degrees. Let's say the system itself, and I don't know why the surfaces are at 120 degrees when the valve is closed, but maybe you can explain it.
I don't know, but I'm sure we'll have a feedback of the real pilots in 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm not that deep into the system.
Okay, maybe a pretty early question, but we will get a discount for the other E-Jets version if we have the 175.
Well, the 170 will be included in the 175. So we have a package again for everyone who joined lately. We have the 170, 175 package, which currently only has the 175, but it will have the 170 for free once we've done that. So 170 and 175 are in the same package. For now, only the 175 we're shipping. And then for the 190 and 195, it will be a new, probably a new product set. But we're not sure yet when to release it. So as we could do two things. We could wait until the 170, 175 package is fully done, and then ship the 190, 195 thereafter. Or we could also release the 190, 195 as an early access, and then develop both into the final stage. I don't know what's better. Let me know. Just post your opinion on this. I mean, in the end, I don't care if we do the 170 first or the 190 first or the 195. In the end, that's not really a difference to us, because we will do them anyway. It's just a matter of which one should be done first.
Okay, sounds good. So if you guys are interested to lead or guide a little bit Martin and his team in kind of direction, so you can join them, for example, the Discord as we mentioned before, or throw with your questions after them, and they will probably have to keep up with your questions and your requests. And as for the moment, it sounds to me they will do so. So you should be in touch with Martin.
By the way, what's up with the wind today?
It's crazy,
huh?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I was just looking on Sky Vector to check out whether this is realistic, but there's a strong wind going on there down in Asia. Really crazy.
And I think for such a strong wind and with these offsets, the LNAV is quite stable already. So that's a good sign.
Yep.
Yep. So we have to check. We're at the 150 miles arc, and we're just hitting, I think. It should be. Wait a second. I need to check it up. Up.
Well,
We
Gespa
have.
is 142 nautical miles away. Right? So the next.
Yeah,
next
141.
waypoint.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so we can calculate it pretty easy. Let me check this here. Flight plan.
77 miles from Gespa to MRE.
Where I
So
can
you
go to
just
flight
need
plan.
to 10 miles to Gespa, or to Gepa. Sorry, to 10 miles to Gepa.
there
and
you
you're
go.
ready to go.
We are going now. I want to be at Yeki, what we calculated before, at Yeki 4000. So we have from Taxia to Yeki, is that right? 13 miles or 20 miles?
No, from Taxia to Yeki, it's 13.
Okay, 13. So we have 13 plus 20 plus, let's say, 6 and 5. That's again 20. So it's 40 miles. Plus 15, let's say. That's 55 miles. And then
By the
there's-
way, you had that one waypoint you had twice Yake. Is that?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
We have talked already. So we have,
Okay,
what I said,
sorry.
around 50 miles, let's say, from Gappa. Plus the 77. So it's round about 120 miles from Gappa to what I said.
End of descent.
Yeke, yeah. So at Gappa we have round about the top of descent. If we have planned the 90
we have
miles.
90. We have 88 nautical miles on 3.5 degrees. So
Yeah. So we have a lot of
30
time now.
30 miles past Gepa, basically.
Yeah. But we will maybe start around Gappa and then we can just check it a little bit. Okay.
By the way, for
sorry.
for people looking for SimBrief import, you can still do this by downloading the flight plan in MSFS format and then loading the flight plan in the MSFS flight menu. What's it called? This main planning menu. You can load in this flight plan, and then all waypoints will be added to the FMS automatically when you load the aircraft. So it's a little bit of a workaround, but it does work. So you get all the waypoints, so you don't need to put it in manually. That does work. It's just not a one click, it's a 3-click import.
Okay. There's another question. We talked about it already in the beginning, but anyways, Aviator asking how is the performance compared to the PMDG 737? I would say, I mean, it's an early access version. As you can see here on the decode, by the way, you can see it's pretty the latest version, which is on today from 1801 Central European time. And as you know from, probably don't know because I don't know if there were many people in some kind of developments included or introduced to them. But anyways, if you have an early access version, there is something, the performance, not the first point you are looking for. And you're trying to improve it through the development. And as we can say from, let's say, our not biased view from cruise level, the performance already improved through the builds we have. And it's not perfect right now, but it will be probably better, as Martin said. But we can say it is right now something between Phoenix, PMDG, and all the others developers, you know, or Fly-by-Wire, which is a freeware version, and it's somewhere there in between them already, so it's fine to fly around.
Yeah, we'll improve this. There is a known bug on performance that I actually experienced on one of my computers, is that you are limited by manipulators. That mean manipulators are the interaction points with the cockpit. So if you want to rotate something or whatever, and this is a bug from Asobo. Actually, it also happens to some of the A310 users or other default aircraft users. It's a very magic thing. If you experience this, so if you open the FPS debug via the developer menu, you can see what's your limiting factor. And if that turns out to be the manipulator, if that's going red, the readout, then this is something we unfortunately cannot fix because that's not connected to us at all. And as I said, I have that on my own version, on my own computer. But then on the other, it's working great. So there's some kind of like magic hardware combination. We are in direct touch with Asobo, and well, they know the issue. I think either they just don't know how to fix it, or they just don't have that on priority.
Okay. Short answer, I would translate to English. Once the people are entering the early access, which is starting in 5 days, and paying the 33 euros, do they have to pay extra on the final product, yes or no?
No.
Good. So once you pay the early access fee, then you're good to go with the final product once it's finished. And one last question, or next question here from Cloud the Action. When is the top of descent? We are reaching in about 15 minutes. So if you guys want to grab a next glass of red wine, beer, or just some popcorn to see me, let's say, crashing or try to landing the aircraft in Hokkaido, I don't know, Hokkaido. You can go and check your restroom, and then we'll be back for the landing. In around about 15 minutes, that's it, yeah.
One thing for the landing, the auto thrust has a retard mode, which will put your throttles into idle when you pass through 30 feet above ground. This works, and like in the real aircraft, this is not the best approach to actually land, because you're something around 50 to 60% N1 during your approach, and the auto throttle is not like your hand smashing the throttle into idle. It will drive it smoothly into idle. There's an electric motor that will drive it back. And this drive back of the throttle will take some seconds. So the thrust reduction is very slow, causing the aircraft to flare very long. So, and for that reason, I always recommend to disable the auto throttle on like minimums or whatever, and then put it into idle manually. Or what you can also do is you can keep the auto thrust activated, but at 30 feet, just put it into idle, and then the auto throttle will automatically disconnect. Just don't let the auto throttle do it on its own. It does work, but it's slow, and this is by design. That's how this system works.
I will turn all auto flight and auto thrust modes anyways, or auto throttle mode anyways during the approach. Once we are stable, let's say on the glide, I will do it pretty early so we can see how the aircraft, let's say, behaves with normal inputs.
Let's
because
turn all off.
Yes, I will do that. So anyway, so I will. I mean, if you check the chart, if you wish, we are flying to Romeo Juliet Charlie Hotel, the Honor 4 runway 2 correction 30, and I think once we pass Eguro, somewhere between Eguro and Papsi, which is about, I don't know how many miles it's to the final from Papsi. Anyways, it should be 5.7 miles. So in 6 miles finals, probably we will turn off everything and then we'll fly manual the aircraft, and you will see it flies pretty nice. Any projects after the E-Jets? E-Jets 2, ERJ? What are your plans, Martin? Can you talk about the plans? Or about your dreams, maybe?
About the dreams, yeah. Well, the E2 would be definitely interesting, but it's not that common yet. So, yeah. But that would be a great idea, for sure. The ERJ is probably, because we are flying an ERJ now as well, it's probably referring to the Embraer 145 or 135 or 130, the old series. Could be, but I mean, I won't plan anything unless I know for sure when we have all the E-Jet series products in the final state. So we have another aircraft team that's working on another aircraft, like the Technam. You might have seen that in a preview. We are working on the Technam, but that's a totally different aircraft and totally different star. Both teams are not shared in any way. They're completely independent. So, yeah. And in that regard, there was another interesting question which I would like to pick up, is how much influence does Aerosoft have over the project? What happens if they say, all right, it's working and project is finished? Now, Aerosoft is just the publisher, okay? So we're not doing this well, they are the exclusive publisher, that's for sure, but they don't have any involvement in this. You can see that by their other aircraft projects that they do, like the Twin Otter or other Aerosoft aircrafts. They are in-house, built in-house. We are not Aerosoft. We're not an in-house company. We're just a development company, and we are releasing through Aerosoft for a couple of reasons. But well, even if they say we don't want to have another version, we'll still. I mean, it's still our decision where to go. So yeah.
So that's the question.
No
what Tishke was asking: how much influence does Aerosoft have over the project?
Yep, exactly.
So okay.
So, basically nothing.
Good.
Maybe you can have Aerosoft with the A330. Well.
And before you start, that's a bad behavior. I know that Marten and Aerosoft are in a very good relationship, so they can make jokes about each other. So
Nice.
that's fine. Yeah.
Well, what if parts of our team are also involved in the A330? What about that?
Okay.
How would be the A330 like if we would do this? I don't know.
Okay.
PC24 is asking about the Technam. Do we have any further news on the Technam for him?
Yes, we recorded the sound of a real aircraft based in Mexico. Just received it a couple of days ago, the final recording for all sounds, so sounds are in progress. We'll have a pretty deep simulation of the workaround of the Rotax engine. You need to turn the propeller before starting the engine. If you're in pro mode, if you're in an easy mode, you can just go flying. It will be very interactive. It will be great. It will be tested by real Technam pilots. And I hope to start beta in early February. And depending on how that goes, we'll release in Q1 this year.
Sounds good.
And of course, we will show it here on our channel, right?
I would love to stream it.
Yes.
The Technam P2006T MK2, by the way, if someone asks for it. It's the twin Rotax twin in the G1000 NXI version.
All right. So far to the T2000, 4000?
2006T.
2060.
There's on YouTube. There's a preview video, but that's like from November, I think, or something. Quite old. Doesn't even cover like 30%. It's just the exterior and interior.
So to everyone,
No, go ahead.
So everyone, if someone is confused, we are Cruise Level. We are just a news platform, okay? So we are just, introducing you as a, let's say, pre-release before everyone else is doing that. For you with Marten. Just read the description or the name of this live stream today. So Marten is the developer. We are just Cruise Level. But one cool thing is where we can talk already about it, is that from tomorrow, a lot of streamers are getting a version of this aircraft, right?
Exactly. I mean, you're the exclusive media partner for this thing, so that's why we see it today already. And although not planned to be in English, there are just enough viewers, so that's great. But the NDA, the official NDA for everyone else, will be lifted this night. So incoming streams during the next days. However, they have an older version than you currently see. This version will be published to the streamers tomorrow, and I also already told them to update before streaming, but I don't know if they will do it. So
Okay.
yeah, I hope.
So you can see a lot of Embraers within the next days flying around, and they will be probably hardly tested, as we know from some streamers, which we do also during our streams. So it will be a lot of fun probably. All right, so let's see if we have to descend. I'm pretty sure we have to descend right now. It looks good.
Go for it.
Let me check. Taxir comes up right now. I would start to descend right now because I don't want to mess up later on. So we go on flight path angle mode, and we go.
Yes, you simply you simply press FPA.
Yes.
And then you rotate the knob to 3 degrees, which is indicated in the PFD.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you need to change the altitude. By the way, sorry.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's my fault. Sorry for that. I will just. That's of course totally noob. Yeah. That was my bad. Sorry. So I go down to, let's say for the moment, flight level 200, just to have something.
By the way, you can drag and scroll if you like.
Yes.
Ah, look at this.
Well, sometimes it's helpful to have the tooltips enabled, because then you can see what you can actually do.
I hate them.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's just.
Okay, now you can see. What is 3.5 degrees? What we said? Was it 3?
5, yeah.
Okay, so 3.5. I will.
In the PFD,
okay.
you can see that.
Unfortunately, it's now my face on this. What I was setting up. So I go to 3.5, which you can see right now here. And it's descending.
Martin, do you have any plans to include, for example, the trade table or stuff like that? So some things to play with during the cruise?
Is that important?
For me not, but it seems that it's important for Aviator or some other users.
Again, I can only repeat again. We can do anything with this thing. Just let us know what and in what kind of priority.
Yeah, just put it into the let's say a wish list that you offer to the community, and then they will prioritize it, and maybe you will see it in the future.
Yeah, just go to the roadmap page, to the there's a button for feature request. Well, that redirects you to our contact form. And then just fill out the form, post your request, and we'll put it in for voting, and then people can vote.
Okay, so I already put in 4,000. I mean, the wind changed again. It's now variable to not, so we can do an ILS, either the RNAV. What kind of approach do you prefer?
It really doesn't matter.
Okay, so we stay with the RNAV approach. I mean, the ILS is more a standard thing, and the RNAV is cooler because you have the offset, so we have to fly it manually and
maybe
change the route, because otherwise we will land 4 degrees offset. I already put in the 4,000 feet, and that's because we're below the transition level. So I already set up the QNH, which is 1017. And for the Donation, Bruchpilot Andi said in German, ein positiv auf das Cruise Level Team. Frohes Neues, freue mich auf 2023 mit euch. Andi, wir uns auch auf dich. Und Kontoauszug, danke für den Post. So we'll continue on that. Sorry, you wanted to say something, Martin?
Probably, but I already forgot it.
Okay, that's cool, yeah. Oh, there's snow, I think.
That looks pretty snowy.
Yeah.
Are you on the beta or the...
No, it's I'm on the base because I hate betas. That's why I'm showing today in beta aircraft.
Got it.
So I hate your aircraft. I hate your aircraft. No. I mean, yeah, I had already the I was at some point, I don't know where it was, between, I don't know, maybe sim update 7 and 8, somewhere there. I was on the MSFS beta, and I didn't like that because, I mean, it proves a lot, but it can also make sometimes the life a bit harder, and that's the reason why I stayed to the normal version, or the, let's say, stable version. And that's why I don't have the no features with snow, which is, no snowed runways or other things which are improving during the winter time. So that's the reason why I have all the snow around. I hope I can see the runway. Otherwise, we have to switch off in the short final the winter weather, because then it will be really hard to land on a white surface.
Maybe the procedure for landing, in terms of configuration, you can set the auto brakes, or you should, to low, or maybe if it's ice to medium. One interesting thing is some low-cost operators in the US don't have an auto brake implemented into the aircraft, and we will ship this as an option. So in the EFB, in the future, you will be able to select if you want to have the auto brake or not. If not, this auto brake panel will simply be missing. It's just blank. There's nothing. No knob. Nothing. For the landing, you don't need to do anything to the spoiler lever. It will be they will be deployed automatically and be retracted automatically. And no, this is not the bug. The spoiler lever won't move. That's by design. It's not there's no electric motor on it.
We can check it. After landing, we will switch immediately to wing view, and then we will see if the spoiler is coming up or not.
Yeah, if they are not coming up, your landing was too smooth.
Yeah, let's see. What do you recommend? Flaps full or flaps 5 landing?
We had a discussion I think yesterday in our real world pilots Discord channel. Most operators have flaps 5 as a default, and using 5 for default. Our load 27, which is the software version of this MCDU, says default is full, so that's why we are using it. But flap 5 is probably the more common, unless it's a very short runway.
Okay, so flaps 5, and if I just, let's say the landing initiation page, I already put all the data in, and if I go now on landing, I see all the speeds I have to fly right now, or later on during the approach.
I'm pretty sure that the runway will have snow, so I recommend you to set the ice to on.
Okay.
The landing page.
Did that?
Okay. Perfect. And this I don't remember if that also has influence on the V speed. No, on the auto brake action. I don't remember, but at least I know that it is connected to some kind of logic.
So do you think I should go on auto brake medium then, or stay on low?
You can stay on low. It's a long runway, no?
I don't know. I'm being honest. I didn't check that before, but we have 3. Yes, I am now perfectly prepared. So we have. The problem is I was not able to make an approach briefing because I didn't get a second glass of red wine. So that's a reason why I can't make it properly. But I will try it without it. We have 3,000 meters in Hokadate, which should be more than enough.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I have 2 questions here, and the first one is: can I set the fix info in the flight plan?
Let's give it a try.
Sorry,
you
Rafa.
No, it's good. Yeah.
So you can look at it. I think you can read. Why you can set the fix info? Why setting? You can read them out.
Now, a fix info, I think it's if you want to have a custom waypoint, let's say, or draw a circle around a waypoint, which we are used from Airbus or Boeing. I don't know if it's even an Embraer feature.
That's very advanced technology. No, that's not yet possible.
Okay. I hope that was meant by the question. Yeah.
And the second question is: what is the weird wire on the windshield?
The heater.
The heater, exactly. Yeah.
Heating.
So it's for heating the windshield.
Maybe something that nobody knows. Do you know what these in the middle of the panel those white and black balls are?
Yeah, that's for setting up your pilot seat in the rear aircraft to align you in the right position in front of your cockpit.
Good.
Of course, we are super advanced at cruise level, so we know that things. And that was the first thing I did, yeah? As you can see, I need to fix it right now. Wait a second. Now it's perfectly fine. No, I'm joking, but it's looking good.
It's pretty fine, I think.
And do the wipers work, but do they wipe water away?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
You can also see that in the video. I think on the... I don't remember. In some of the videos you can see that.
Yes, it is releasing on 10th, but it will be on early access.
If you don't like this debug readout with the version number on the left next to the PFD, you can just click on it. It will vanish.
Ah. But I liked it. How I can get it back?
Reload load the aircraft.
And I have seen here's a nice checklist feature on the yoke. If you click on that, you can swap the sides.
Yeah, you can also store it.
How do I store it?
I think you need to click on the upper part of the checklist, or so.
Ah, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you click on the checklist, then it switches there. Okay. I mean, it's a feature probably nice to have.
Yeah, and things like you can hide the yoke if you click the bottom, and then the checklist will also be stored.
Proof. Yeah. Will be there in on the FB probably a digital checklist as well somewhere at some point in the development.
We could do, although I don't really understand the need for it. I mean, that's
yeah, because I don't want to. Because for me, for example, I would love to have a printable checklist because I usually print out. Whoopsie. I print out usually my checklist and put them in some, I don't know how to call it in English, thermal plastic thing.
Yeah.
In German we say folieren. I like to folieren, right? So if you like to folieren your checklist as well, will be the printable checklist to folier the checklist. If not, I will provide you one and you can put it into the package for the people if they like to.
Yes, I will exclusively add something because of your request.
Thank you.
We have in the documentation, we have a checklist already. I will offer a PDF that you can download.
Laminate, of course, laminate. Sorry, yeah. Thank you, guys. Pretty kind from your side. Laminate. Yeah. So if you are kind of laminate guys like me, as you can see, I made a request. I will get it, so it's pretty easy.
Oh, that's because of you.
Oh, okay. So guys, if you want some requests, tell them to me and I will ask to Martin. You will get them probably for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I'll forward all support requests to you. Easy.
Okay. No, thank you. I'm not interested in that.
By the way, in our online documentation, there's also a print button. So it will get you a printable format of this thing. And you can, of course, print your PDF. You can print a PDF from that.
Okay.
For all the documentation.
I have already a first request. I have to give it to you. Please request working VNAV. I think that's already on the list pretty high.
Ah, I didn't know about that, but good that you're saying it. Okay.
Now top priority, please.
Okay. I'll look into it.
One question we had. I have to request another thing. I have to request a free copy. Maybe we can do that about that.
Well, we have a copy protection, so yeah, let's discuss that later on.
Yeah. But one more serious question is, where can I buy it when it's releasing? Martin, you could repeat it. Yeah, where?
In the Aerosoft web shop, or through the Aerosoft One client, which is like the Steam equivalent from Aerosoft, and the One client is also the aircraft will be distributed through the One client, which means, and also the copy protection is in the One client, which means you need to install One, log in with your user, then install the aircraft, and it works fine. If you want to install it on another computer, don't simply copy the aircraft over the folder, because that will give you an unactivated aircraft. What you need to do is you need to install Aerosoft One on the other computer as well, and then log in with your user again, install the aircraft through it, and then you're good. That's important.
Okay.
So yes, you can use it on multiple devices. That's possible, but you always need to log in with your Aerosoft One account.
One thing maybe we didn't talk about it, and maybe I will now drive over you a little bit with that question, but anyways, is we can maybe let the chat decide to get or to have a chance to win a free copy of the Embraer jet. So if you guys want to have one free copy, just let us know in the chat, and that will raise the pressure towards Martin, and then we maybe have a chance to get some.
Remember, it's an early access.
Anyways,
we could do that.
Okay, the people are asking for it. Who wouldn't want a free copy?
I
What?
think
What?
Captain
What?
Panna wants one.
Who wants one?
Panna.
Captain Panna, yeah. I will show. The answer is no thanks. So, Captain Panna, you want a free copy?
If it comes with a Foliermaschine.
Yeah, it comes with a folier machine or laminate machine, yeah, included, where you can laminate your checklist. All right, so we are not prepared for a giveaway today, so you have no chance to win today a free copy, but we will figure out something, because there is a little prediction, because some people are from the German-speaking friends and followers of Cruise Level. They know we have a podcast, which is in German only, obviously. We have sometimes also guests we're speaking in English, but the main language is in German there. And our next guest will be Marten. That was not so hard. And I would say we make a kind of raffle, latest by this point, which is next, or let's say Sunday in a week. There you will have a chance to win a free copy of that. So it will be from now on in how many days? 7 plus 3 is in 10 days.
Yeah, but it just to make sure it won't be an E-175 show off in the podcast, right? It's just maybe a quick sum up of our
That's
stream.
that's.
Yeah.
But until that point, we will figure out how to win, and that you can see if you check cruiselevel.de. There you will see how to win, or you can find out there how to win a free copy of that. So you're at 10,000. Switching on the landing lights. Passenger fasten seatbelts are on. I will go.
What was your? Sorry to interrupt. What was your waypoint that you want to level off at?
A Yake at 4,000.
Oh, can you hold the right Alt key and then press onto the MFD page, or onto the MFD?
Oops. Okay, now we have big. It's a
Yes.
pop up. Yeah.
Yes. So at Yaki. Okay. Yeah, but we're a little bit early.
No,
I
it looks
think.
good, because we're. I can zoom in like this. Then it should be probably better to see. At 8,000. That's probably a bit early, but better be early than too late.
Yeah, that's true. But it was just checked to see. Oh, you enabled the weather, right? The weather radar.
No, it's the terrain radar.
Oh, that's the terrain radar. Okay.
Mhm.
Just to let you guys see that the FPA descent is quite stable and quite predictable. So yes, we are missing VNAV, we know that, but that doesn't stop you from flying this thing properly, right? So no matter what kind of speed you have, if you calculate your top of descent correctly, it's going down perfectly. Yeah, just to break this VNAV requirement story.
I have right now there was a question about the frames per second. You can't see it because I have what is it, Xbox pop up, I think, and I have right now 42 frames per second, which is, if I compare to the 737 on my system, you can see my system, by the way, down in the description, but compared to the let's say Phoenix, PMDG, Leonardo, and all the others, fly-by-wire, etc., it's already now okay, and it will be even better, as we heard already. But I was
There's
interrupting you, sorry. Yeah.
There's coming up a pressure warning. We are aware of this bug. The pressure system, sorry for not putting that into highest priority, but the pressure system is, I think, the most unimportant thing in flight simulation. Of course, it should not produce any warnings like this. We'll fix it. I think it's actually already fixed, not in your version, because I remember I posted this bug a couple of days ago.
Okay.
One question, Martin, that came up several times. Will there be animated windows so that I can open the window on the left or the right side of the
They
car?
are already.
They are all already.
Can I open it during the flight, or shouldn't do it?
Give it a try.
It's not opening.
Yep, correct. So not during the flight, but it will work on ground.
It's because of a mechanism, or it's because of the physics?
It's well, technically it's locked, but I think we linked it to some kind of ground speed
Okay. So we're
threshold.
okay. The reason why we are super low now because I started too early the descent. So that's the reason why we're now super low. But we will enjoy the super low flying above.
And I think you forgot the deceleration to below 250 knots. below
Yeah, but
flight
I will
level
keep it up
100,
now.
right?
Yeah, that's right. But I will keep it up because, I mean, we all enjoy level flying on low altitude, but we also enjoy landings, and
We
not to
also
stretch
enjoy
it.
sleeping.
Yeah.
One thing that we haven't seen yet is the door locking system. We haven't touched it yet. It's not in the normal procedures. You didn't lock the door, and that's why you can open it. But the actual door locking logic is working. If someone cares, you can lock and unlock the door properly. However, you can move through it with your camera because we can't block the camera on this. A limitation from ASUS, unfortunately.
Big shame on me. I getting great descent planning without VNAV. Yeah, that was my fault because I was saying pretty too early. I was descending or starting around the descent around 30 miles too early, which was good to know because I don't know if you was if you were watching it, guys, but we are right now round about, let's say, what is it to Yaki? Probably
20 miles.
No, it's less because 25 is the auto ring. So
Yeah.
let's say 8 miles,
Yeah.
9 miles, yeah. And I was at 4,000 like 10 miles ago, 15 miles ago. So that's around about the 30 miles. I started too early to descend, so it's fine. And I like it to enjoy the sea, the ships, the ice.
And of course, you're usually looking at track miles. So if you have a turn, of course, you need to keep that in mind. If you're just
Yeah.
looking at the range rings on the PFD,
That's very.
it won't include your track miles, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Question from Fabio Santera is what liveries will be available next week?
Let me see. So American, United, KLM, LOT, FSS, which is our internal livery, and Alaska. The next liveries that will be available for free will be Air Canada, the new colors, and an airline that I've never heard of is Marathon or something. I think they only have one aircraft. It's Greek airline or something. Charter maybe. Yeah, these are the next two that will come up. Marathon Airlines SA.
One question for me is how do I know where to put out the flaps? Is there in the real aircraft kind of, let's say on the speed tape, some points where you see to put the flaps out or in? Okay.
Green dot is already in the feature request list. Green dot speeds will be implemented, and this is great. I just received a message from our Flight Dynamics coder. He said the new performance model is ready and merged. Please test.
Okay.
So, as I said, you probably won't see any difference, but the real-world pilots are pretty nasty about those things. They want to have the pitch and power settings 100% correct. So, yeah.
Okay. So it's today only by my experience. We're flying by experience today, which is pretty high. Let's see.
It's still good. It's just not 100% correct across all flap settings. But again, you won't see any difference.
Whoa! What's going on? I just put something wrong here in it. I don't know what I was clicking.
Yeah, what you did is you disabled the auto throttle, and then the
Yeah, of course. It was less. I was just only putting out the flaps, but I don't know. Maybe I was pushing.
Oh yeah,
something.
maybe you moved them a little bit.
That's maybe the
accidentally.
reason. Yeah. That's
And if you move more than 8 degrees, or 8% or something like that, then the auto throttle will automatically disconnect.
Okay.
That's the real one. Oh, and if you want to know the limitations in the normal procedures, there is a section for limitations, and if you look at flaps, it says Flap 1 speed is 230, Flap 2 speed is 215, the maximum speed, and Flap 3 is 200. And interesting information, Flap 4 and 5 are the same, but Flaps 4 are for takeoff and Flaps 5 are for landing. There's some kind of psychology reason that I don't really know, but they say, so it's exactly the same flap settings. You won't see any animation, so if you set from 4 to 5, you won't see anything happening.
Okay.
But during takeoff, you can only select 4, and during landing, you can only select 5 in the MCDU.
Okay. Guys, if you like ships, by the way, enjoy the view.
Looks like they had some anti-ice on this part of the world.
I don't know if it's the scenery.
Yeah,
I downloaded some freeware for this airport, but let's see what happens. What happens? So 2,500, which is fine. We should be there at Guro. I can zoom in a little bit. So that looks good to me. And from Eguro, we start with an... what was it again? 3 degrees? Yes, 3 degrees. Down to 520, which is our...
Okay, barrow's set already. That's good.
Let's go to 500, so it's set. And then we switch down to... or go down to... with a 3 degrees descent. So I will reduce a little bit the speed, although we are not super fast right now. But
remember to change the altitude prior to setting up the FPA.
yes, it's already done to 500 feet.
Oh, yeah, sorry, didn't see that.
Because we're in alt mode, which is not perfectly precise. We should be at 2,500, but that's okay. And what I was doing right now, I just forgot. The speed. I wanted to speed down a little bit, not speed up.
By the way, if you want to put something, if you want to fly in meters, that's possible. You can
Yes.
the meter reader.
You can click on the old set button and then you see the meters. Right, so let's see. Now, once we are starting... Hey, I was landing today. You predicted 900 feet landing. I was landing today with 88 feet per minute without any problem. So the aircraft is flying pretty smooth, so it should be not a problem. I'm predicting my landing myself below 150.
Predict CTD. That's nice.
Yeah, maybe it happens, Crash to Death. So maybe it's an early access, so it could. Shouldn't, but it could.
No.
Okay.
Well, honestly, the only thing that I've never seen during development is a crash to desktop. What I've seen is displays are crashing, so you get a blue screen on the display, but the entire sim crashing.
Why it's not turning? Should it turn? It's maybe it's not following the line.
Oh, then go into heading mode and follow it.
Now it's turning. No, it was too early. The line was not correctly drawn, but I think it will fly the line.
Maybe it's an overfly waypoint.
That could be. Yeah, it is. I think because it's also on the chart. Okay, so we start now descent with 3 degrees. So I will go down to 3. It's a lot of turning, but you can see on the primary flight display. No, you can't see because my face is on it. So it's now on 3 degrees, as you can see here. -3 degrees, and we're shooting the approach. That's super low. I hope we don't fly into the mountains. But it's according to the charts. And as you can see...
You have the terrain radar, so...
Yeah, I see. I'm totally aware of it. But the airport is fully covered in snow, so I will change it to summer mode, because otherwise we have no chance. I mean, the weather's anyway super clear. And the autopilot is now driving crazy, but it's doing good. Okay, now I can see the runway again, but it's super low. Cool. How do you know what degrees you should descend? I see it on the charts. There is a 3 degrees flight path angle for the approach, so that's what I took from there, but it's going super low, but it's looking good if I watch on the runway. So I will do here final configuration, just to stop talking. We have VAP 135. Stop it. So 139. So we put gear down. That's super low. I don't know if it's... this is way too low. This is absolutely too low. But we were flying the approach as published. But we enjoyed a super low view about...
Yeah.
I mean, wing view, look, it's spectacular.
Look, there's a cow.
That's really spectacular if you go from the... if you get 400, 300, there's totally something wrong. But anyways, probably the the offset is not right here. But we're going for flaps 5, I said. So we should be now on flaps 4, which is coming up right now. And no, that was 3. So we go now on flaps 5. I will check that. Yes, we are. So I don't touch. I will switch off the autopilot. That makes no sense here at this point. And I fly with...
Just to be clear, that was not an autopilot issue.
No, that was my issue because I was starting to descend super early.
Coming in hot.
yeah, that was totally wrong. But anyways, so 135, trying to catch it up. So now everything looks fine. Where's the runway? I see it. So we are in the landing checklist. Cabin secured, takeoff data. No, not takeoff. Before landing, flight attendants noted. Landing gear down, 3 green. Flaps are set and landing light is on. There's the runway. And we enjoy the landing.
In theory, you would need to rotate the altitude to
Yeah, I know.
low
Back
pressure.
to go around altitude, which was, I don't know, somewhere there. Okay, we came up pretty high now on the approach. It's not a problem. The textures of the runway are pretty bright. I don't know.
Maybe we should do some sceneries.
Yeah. Speed is good. We're getting perfectly back on glide. This is looking good to me.
Around, that's good.
Two whites, two reds. A little bit slow. It's flying super nice. Speed is good, 1 knot below.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That's how you land an aircraft. Long landing. It was in the touchdown zone. But we will check it. Oh, there are the spoilers, as you told.
Good.
So we're going to manual braking. It was a little bit floaty, that's right, yeah. Because, but I think the reason behind this is because my viewpoint is pretty high, and that what makes me thinking about I'm
But
flying
you
nose
were a
down,
little
yeah.
bit- You had a nose down attitude shortly before flaring, and you usually should have a pitch up attitude at around like
Oh,
5
really?
degrees or 3 degrees. Yeah, because you came in a little bit high. So
Okay.
and
that's-
that obviously increases the flare distance. So if you because you were a little bit high, but
Okay.
if you're on a glide slope, for example, you should have like 2.5 to 5 degrees nose up, and then you just lift it up to something like 7 degrees, 8 degrees, and then it will smoothly flare down.
Okay, I have probably 2 sceneries here installed, but anyways. So we do the after landing things. Let me stop just here, just to finish that. So we switch off landing lights, strobe lights off. We go on the APU on, and we do the trim down to 4 degrees, which is going here. Perfect. So we can taxi now to a parking spot, which is anyways doesn't matter because that's not today the reason why we are flying.
Before turning off the airplane, can we show it in the nighttime? There are people asking, especially
Yeah.
for the strobe light effect.
Of course.
And can we also open the windows?
Ah, yeah, we can do that.
all the important things.
So we can wave to the friendly Japanese people. Hello there.
Hello.
We can close it again. So I will just park here.
One thing in terms of the APU, if you shut down the APU, it won't shut down immediately. So if you rotate the button, that's not a bug, that's by design. It will take 1 minute to actually start disconnecting power.
That's a question because there's fine question from Taylor. He's asking, or he's complaining, auto brake should snap to off once the brake toes are applied. Is it so?
I think so, yes.
Okay, I don't know because
But honestly, I need to read up the documentation again.
Okay.
So the things I know is that the auto brakes will be disabled at 60 knots or at 80 knots. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm not aware of what the button or the knob does actually. It probably should rotate to off, but.
So we switch to nighttime to check the. Wait a second, to check the strobe lights, because there was a question from the outside.
Yeah, so the strobe lights in the E-Jets are very special, because there are just plenty of strobe lights in this thing. So if you, there are two, basically, and one in the winglet front, as you can see now, and one on the top of the winglet, but it's a combination of nav light. So the white light on top of the winglet is a navigation light, and it has an embedded strobe light. If you zoom into the winglet, you will see that the strobe light, that the light source is actually flickering together with the strobe effect as well. But it's only at the moment it's only visible if you're close. We'll need to improve that a little bit. And the top wing strobe is facing backwards, and the one in the front of the winglet is facing forward. Now for the other winglet type that we have, the classic one, they even have another different system again. So these are quite unique. But we got them all. They're just not.
The people
like the
want to
top is
see.
not
People want to see rain. We can check that in a few seconds. Cabin lights. Is there any cabin light? Because now is the cabin pretty dark. You need to know it's a cruise. You need to know it's a cruise level flight. We don't have money for that, so that's why that's awesome. But being honest, is there any chance to see that right now, or will be there's a feature later on?
There is, but I don't remember which. If there's on the overhead panel, if there's anything that's driving this. I know that we have cabin lighting. I would need to support from my FSS guys. Maybe someone is coming up in the chat. I know that we have some. Again, it's the same story. Oh, hang on, he's. I think. Can you try to set the time through the default menu, to the default MSFS menu, and not?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Wait a second, I need to set it the other way around.
My developer just wrote it could be an issue because of this flow add-on thing, because we have an auto detect logic for the lighting.
I will just go through this weather.
I think it's in the weather panel.
Yeah, I'm already. So let's see. It's today day. Now it's night. From outside nothing, and from inside.
Go to. The other reason could be that you're using the cruise level livery and it's not updated to the latest.
That could happen, yeah.
The latest version yet. I don't remember the other issue, but I know that we have cabin lighting, but it should be automatic because we don't have any process simulation yet. Yeah, but there is.
So we'll try rain. Let me check.
Yes,
back
please.
today. And we go weather and we check weather. Where's it going on here? Rain. There is it raining.
Guys, I need to leave you for a couple of minutes because my son is awake. Just need to calm him down.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
No problem.
So the wind scraper, yeah.
Wiper.
The wiper, or how we say, or in German we say Scheibenwischer. So if the Scheibenwischer is doing his job, it's doing perfect. So if you like Scheibenwischer, it's fine. Can you open the door now? Ja.
Vor allen Dingen sehen die aus wie von einem Dreier Golf von 1992 oder so. Die Dinger.
Yes, I can open the door. I can open the window, for example. I did it already after the landing, and we can also open all the doors. The window is now able to be opened. So it was really, I don't know, it was physics or by design. What was the answer of Martin? I forgot, but anyways, not the door. That's not the door. Yeah, I know that's not the door, but I was talking about the window. But I can open all the doors. So if I go here now, it's crying because the engines are running. But now all doors are open. So the windscreen
first.
Unfortunately not. We cannot see the other winglet option. The sun visors. I don't know if there are any sun visors. That's good that Martin is now not here, so we can try everything what we want to try.
They are implemented. They are on the left side. To
Okay,
your
wait a
knees.
second, because I need to close all the doors, otherwise the aircraft will shout at me.
First,
Okay, on the left-hand side,
on your knees, down.
on my knees.
Yeah, on the
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. And then you can click on them. Yeah, and then you have them near the. Okay, so now they're gone.
Okay, that's now okay. So it's working. Okay. Okay, now I got it. Okay, you can run it through the slide, left and right, and then if you don't like it, you can go up and down and. So okay, and then I can. There is a wing view, but it's in default MSFS feature. You can go through the default views, and if you go through all the different views, then there is one wing view. Direct, you mean with Direct 2 in the flight plan? This will be a feature which is coming with the next release candidate. Clear to take off.
If the panel states, I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
That we have to ask Martin once he's back, but unfortunately his small boy is crying right now, so we need to wait. But what we can do now is we just can shut down the engine and put this aircraft to park mode, let's say. At the moment it's not possible on VATSIM, right? You can fly it on VATSIM. I was flying it today on VATSIM. I mean, of course there's here and there not everything perfect, but you can do it. Why not? I don't see any point here. So okay, the APU is running. Is it running? APU 100%, that's good. So we can switch down the engines. And we go with the transponder. Whoopsie, there we go, on standby.
Have you tried to insert a custom waypoint into the FMC?
No, that's not a feature right now. That's what Martin told us already. Custom waypoints feature, or let's say we were talking about the fix point or the fix feature where you can draw rings, etc. I don't know if it's possible to point a custom waypoint. I can try one. Let's say my name.
And Sam, for example, yeah, it could be hard, or it can be hard to get with that airplane in VATSIM, but that's how it is. Every info is in the chart, so you can fly it also without holding and VNAV and all these things.
Okay, it says not in database. No.
No, but we have already mentioned that. So.
Yeah, that's you need to ask it at Martin, but it's releasing in early access, so it's not a final release. So that's very important to all you guys to know about that. That it's not a final release. It's an there we go off. That's an early access. So if you want to, go along with Martin and his team and support them during the, let's say, final development stage, you can go and buy it, and then you will have a lot of bugs, of course, but you have the possibility probably to influence the way of the development. If you don't like it, just wait until the product is finally released, and then you can buy it for a normal price probably, and you will have, we hope so, a nice product once it's finished.
Yep. I'm back.
Okay.
Thanks.
There's one question. The question was, is there already a kind of panel state save possibility? So can you save the panel state?
You can't. We just today in our weekly call we discussed if we want to have some kind of panel state loading where you can, for example, set cold and dark or turnaround mode or turnaround state, and we decided to implement that first because it makes sense to differ between cold and dark and turnaround state. But saving the entire panel is a lot of work with a low level of benefit, I think. Again, we can do everything, but I would say there are rather more important things.
I mean, it's a good point where we can discuss about it long and long. Is what Scottish aviators say, why to release it when it's unfinished? Of course, it is in early access, so that's the point, yeah. But if you see it from the FlightSim view, you can say maybe it's unfinished, maybe that will cause problems in FlightSim. But the point is, and that's what I'm leading to, is we have also some real pilots from different aircraft, Airbuses, Boeing, etc., in our friendship groups, let's say our aviation community. And they say always, once the aircraft is doing something what it shouldn't do, just fly it manually. And that is something you can do always. But we sim pilots, we sim pilots, me included, of course, we think often maybe, okay, it's not working, the aircraft, so I can't fly it maybe, or I can handle it. So it's a hard way to find the right way for you as developer. That's the question, because are you developing an aircraft for flight sim enthusiasts like we are all, or for pilots? That's the decision you have to make at some point, yeah. And from now on, saying it's an early access, so of course there's not everything implemented, but as you can see on the website from Marten and his team, there's everything described what will be in the next releases, so you can see it. And once it has maybe approached to a point where you say, okay, now it's with the feature included what I wanted to have, then you can join, of course, also later in the early access.
Yes, definitely. And there's always a group to address, but it might not be you personally. So we start off with what we have now, and we'll increase more. And for example, even if we would release a full state aircraft at some point, maybe some people would say, well, this is too complex to me. So I think it's also a way of learning the aircraft by integrating new features step by step. But yeah, it's all up to you. I mean.
Yeah. So final words maybe from my side. And that's not biased, that's just from, let's say, the cruise level side. And if you don't know who's cruise level is just a FlightSim news platform in German language. So if you like reading or learn German, just do it and go on cruiselevel.de. And there you can win something in about, what we said, 10 days, a free copy of that. So just go there and check it regularly, and you will see it. But from the neutral point of cruise level, I can say I like... maybe I don't like the approach of early access because I'm not a fan of it, but it's more of a personal thing. Okay, that's, you can say I like it or I don't like it. Me personally, I don't like it. But what I like is about you and your guys behind, let's say your team, is that you are transparent and communicating really clear what are you doing and what are your plans, and you involve already, even you didn't release the aircraft because it will be in 5 days. But you include already the community where you can put feature requests, chat with you, and be, let's say, involved in the development. And that's what I like. So that makes maybe the pain of an early access a little bit easier to handle, let's say.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, we see that Microsoft and Asobo are quite successful with reacting to community feedback, and it would be harder to react if we already have a finished product. then maybe some core items would have need to be done differently.
Yeah.
So now it's the time for everyone to involve if interested in it. If not, then just wait. And
Yeah.
that's it.
That's one of many approaches you can release a product, and yeah, it's up to you guys out there in the FlightSim community if you want to join or not. This, let's say, journey with Marten and his team, that's up to you. But the transparency I like so far, so it's promising, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're all the best. I would say final questions. If you have any kind of questions to Marten, maybe Marten, you want to say something from your side without being asked by a question from someone else.
Well, we talked so much, and it's I mean we have the thing is we have so great developers. They can, and it's really magic. They have done really fantastic things in the background. You can't really see it because the easier or the better the output looks, the more complex it is in the background. So I'm 1000% confident that we will nail this down as soon as possible into a fantastic version. And this is great, and we're not like one person or two persons individually. It's a company going on here, so it's some kind of professional system behind. We also have a professional bug tracking and all this kind of stuff. So it's not a one man show. It's not a one hit wonder, and this is something which I'm really proud of because I know that we can do it. Now I hope that you're convinced too. If not, then just let some time pass by and we'll see it. And yeah, I would second that we have a better pilot next time. Although, Buffy, you did pretty well.
He did worse in the
yeah.
past.
I guess, and I mean, I didn't have to teach him about flying, just some aircraft instruments, so or system specific things for this aircraft. I recommend you to check out the documentation. We are transparent. We wrote down everything. We marked everything that's not included yet in red. Just go and check it out. If you're sitting in the bus or in the train, you can open it on your phone. Just look through and get yourself an idea. Okay, and that's. I mean, I don't want to hear someone saying, "Oh, this is not interested. I didn't know it. That's not included. I didn't know it." Okay, so if you don't know something, then go ahead and ask.
Okay, so maybe some last comments or questions on from both sides. Let's say Aviator just wrote, "Just love how all the developers are so friendly and nice to everyone. I will buy this aircraft not only for good plane but also for support. Really, really nice developers and the whole team." That could be also my words because I love you, Marten, but you know it anyways. But the more personal question from Siem Koopman is, where are you from, Marten?
Oh,
do you want to share it?
Oh yeah. Oh, well, that's not a secret. I'm from Hamburg in Germany. I'm living here, right next to in the approach sector in the departure sector of Hamburg-Fuhlsbüttel and in the approach sector of the Finkenwerder Airbus Industry Airport. But the team is spread around the entire world. So we have from like Brazil over USA to Indonesia, but down to Indonesia, basically all countries are represented in our team.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So a nice conclusion of Captain UK. I will keep an eye out of this aircraft. I will purchase once it is more established as an add-on. I will be interested when Q8 Pilot makes a review of this aircraft. I think that's a good approach. If you say, okay, that's what I have seen today, or I will see maybe within the next week when the other streamers get a hand on it. And if you say, maybe that's not what I want to have, just wait and buy it, for example, in 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, that's a fine conclusion.
Yeah. We will probably do maybe a stream once we have a major new feature that everyone is waiting for. So, and I'm sure every streamer will have a different view on it. So some people will say it's great, some people will say it's not great yet. We also have had streamers that said they are surprised about the quality that we already delivered because they wasn't expecting it. So it's always a personal view. Just try to make your own view of it and then go or no, go no.
Yeah. Scottish Aviator is maybe not kind of happy right now, but I'm hoping or I'm sure that you will convince him once you're further on the development.
Yes.
So one question, VNF, yeah, it will be somewhere around available. We talked about it 10,000 times. And Fabio Santera said, can't wait for the tray table. So that's maybe one important request. And we talked about the flushing toilet function. So you are on it.
Well,
Yeah.
we are not Aerosoft, remember?
Okay. So Julius, do you want to say something or do you want to finish it?
Yes, I just wanted to say one
okay.
sentence. If you don't like it, don't hate, buy late.
Oh, that's a word. That were wise words. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with these words, I can only say thank you everyone for watching today. Enjoy the next streams from tomorrow starting on. Maybe we will stream it as well here on Monday probably, because we stream every Monday at around 20 o'clock Central European time. So if you're interested, you can join us. Thanks for all the follows. Thanks for the gifts and for the Spenden. What is Spenden in English? I missed the word.
Donations.
For the donations. And
Thank you for spending time with us, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, thank you for this. And yeah, we keep the fingers up and crossed for a good future of this aircraft.
Yep.
So thank you, Marten, for being our guest today. We enjoyed it a lot. I hope you too.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for having me. Thanks for supporting. And yeah, looking forward to the future. Will be great, for sure.
And last thing from Gear Down, go and taste the red wine. I will do so. So thank you very much. And see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.